Don't say the F word.
Yeah, obviously. I just realized that I kind of did the, Hello, everybody. We are late and gay, although we are starting a little bit early because I have a bunch of stuff this evening.
So we're not really early.
Sort of.
And we're not
Spoon's
really
a little
either.
bit sleepy, so I thought we'd wake him up with some fun things to start.
Oh, you know when Aiden says that, I'm like, oh god.
No, some of it actually is, some of it legitimately is white pills and fun things and funny articles. So I thought I'd move that up to the front. But actually, I was going to start with the funny stuff anyway.
Is it the car thing?
The car thing?
Oh yeah, I sent a thing to V. I sent like, V, I thought you'd find this funny. And then I log on YouTube right now and there's like, oh look, here's V, next live stream, it's on that thing. I'm like, oh, for God's sake.
Oh, okay. I don't know about this car thing, I'm unaware.
Okay, so here's the funny thing. It looks like they're looking to ban EVs.
Oh, yeah. I have that article in here.
Which is absolutely hilarious. So let me get this straight. After freaking years now of, we need to switch to EVs. Because EVs are so much better for the environment. Now it turns out, they're actually catching fire a lot.
Kind of explode a lot. Yeah.
Like,
weird.
Maybe we should do something about it. And the fact that there is not nearly as many freaking cars on the road that are EVs and there are petrol ones and they're the ones catching fire should tell you that EVs are kind of shit.
I'd have to take a look at the statistics, but if they're catching fire at a significant rate, considering how few there are of them, then yeah, that's not a good sign, statistically speaking, for how long we've had, petrol-fueled vehicles versus these EVs that have only been around for the last decade or so. Yeah, that's not a good sign. Not great.
Well, not if you're a Tesla fan, no.
Well, I mean, you like Elon Musk, but I'm not I don't know. I have no desire to have a Tesla.
Yes, I do like Monarch Musk, but I prefer Monarch Musk at Twitter than Tesla.
Oh, let him get your bag off of the climate crazies. I don't care. But I do care about the fact that we got some super chats starting out before the stream started.
Thank you very much for doing so.
And thank you guys. Which will I've got some funny stuff for you.
I will cheers my lemon tea to all of you. God bless you people who give us money.
Lemon tea? Or did you say lemon teat?
How the fuck?
Have you ever looked at a lemon?
What are lemon teats?
It kind of looks like a teat. Like
if your tits look like lemon, you should really go.
No, mine don't. But it's kind of the same sort of general shape. If you cut it in half and you have two halves and you put them next to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Is there something you'd like to tell us?
No.
I would hope not.
I'm just making a joke, sir.
I don't know where Aiden was going with this. It's making me uncomfortable.
Good. Lamented Guide for 5 says, Oprah voice, you get an indictment, and you get an indictment, and you get an indictment. Yeah. Everyone in the previous admin, get an indictment. Well, that certainly appears to be what they're going to do.
I'm going to be honest. I haven't really paid attention to the indictment thing because at this point in time, okay, this is how I look at it. The vast majority of people who even vaguely like a little bit pay attention to politics, they're not looking at the indictments in any detail. They don't know anything about law. They're just looking at it in two ways. There's going to be the one side to go, another indictment. For God's sakes. Well, they just leave Trump alone. That's like
there's some weird stuff involving this one that I thought was interesting.
But that's like the sane side, and the other side just thinks like, God, another indictment, orange man, bad, and that's most people. They don't pay attention to the details.
Yeah, there's people on the extreme left who every single time one of these happens, this is the real one. Yeah. This is the real one. It's for real. And they lose their minds, and then nothing happens. Then there's a couple people on the right who actually care enough to like look into it. Yeah, and it's not a whole lot of people,
it annoys them.
The vast majority don't give a damn. At this point, even the Democrats don't give a damn because they know it's not that how many times can you get people excited for something?
I saw some article. I'm not sure where it was. I think it might have been Vox.
This is just part of their theater.
I know
it doesn't help them though.
No, but one of the articles just said like, how do the Democrats combat indictment fatigue? And that should tell you something. Is that there's so many of them they're just getting bored of it now. It's no longer a punch. Because if you need to get 5 or 4, how many has it been now? This is
3.
Yeah,
this is fourth. This is the 4th one. Yeah.
Yeah, if the first 3 did nothing, what's the 4th one gonna do?
That's
what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. Precisely, nothing. You don't know. But because it's just fatigue.
The only thing it's done, it has fatigued people,
Yes.
They're tired of it. And then the only other thing I think that it's tangibly done is create psychological reactance, because you're trying so desperately to make Trump into a martyr over nothing.
Yeah.
And it's repeatedly been shown to be nothing.
It's great.
Ugh. But Lamented Guide for another $2 says, and hello, Crown Crew, what's on the menu? Well, a bunch of silly stuff, and then we're going to talk about the indictment, and some other things. Breitbart did a really good job, in particular, of setting up and establishing a timeline of exactly when every single Trump indictment has dropped. And it's curious temporal closeness to every time something really despicable about Hunter Biden has dropped. Wonder why that might be the case. Just a coincidence, I'm sure. Horwitz, Feinberg, and Horwitz for 10 says, heteroflexible and behind schedule. We are technically early because we usually start at 8:30, so technically early, even though we're still late. But thank you, Horwitz, Feinberg, and Horwitz. Lamented Guide for another 5 says, let's see if Aiden knows the current thing, because Spoon won't clear his throat. Bert, skipped, doop, oh, yes, script, double, re. I don't know that. So I don't know that either. Are you having a malfunction? Do you need a doctor? Do you need an adult? I don't know what that is.
I'm confused by
I'm going to Google it, and I don't know if I should. What is this? I have no idea what that is. What all that gives me on Google is mostly is like an old Gary's Mod video and a funk song from last year, so I'm not sure. DRTA's King for 5 says, are you, Aiden Paladin, going to be on Woman's Hour to big up your upcoming video? Or maybe
Rob said, please someone show her the meme.
Skibbity Toilet? I don't know this. All right. Okay, guys. Can I show this on... Let me see what it is first.
Ask the chat. Can she...
Oh, it's a source meme? Oh, okay. I saw it was a source thing, and I was like, okay. I assumed that wasn't it. Oh, okay. It's... appears to be this. I like Gmod stuff. This, I suppose? Okay, excellent. Thank you.
That is very, very quiet.
Oh, was it?
Like,
it's probably a copyright song anyway.
Extremely quiet.
Mine is.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know how to turn it up. You have to turn it up on your side. Like if you type in you go with the thing and
no, but it's
on
your,
Discord.
It's your screen share.
Oh, okay. Hang on. No, mine's turned up all the way. Maybe hang on.
My side.
Okay.
Sorry, my apologies.
That's all right. We got it out of the way now. With the meme, I don't think I'm going on with Poe anytime soon on Women's Hour. I mean, I haven't talked to her about it, but of course, unless it's Skibbity Toilet. Yeah, I'm the sense of humor of like a 5-year-old.
I've noticed.
I love the dumbest stuff. And I love Gmod stuff. I love Gmod.
I have noticed that, actually. I discussed that with a friend some months ago, that the smartest people have the stupidest sense of humor.
Well, I love dumb Gmod stuff. Rob Walker, who's been a member for 5 months, thank you, Rob, says, if EVs are already on the chopping block, how long do you think it will take before wind and solar are there as well? I mean, as long as they're making money, it is a good question, but yeah, who knows? Who knows? As long as it makes them money, it'll still be on the plate, right?
The banning thing is because it was a fire hazard, because quite a few of them have just spontaneously caught fire.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Janegi for 5 says, nah, always gate and lay. We are inherently, yeah. Gary Thomas for 5 says, hey, Dynamic Duo, as a native of Atlanta, I find the Trump indictment idiotic, especially with the amount of crime going on in this city. I know, right? You'd think they'd have more important things to take care of in Georgia, but alas, apparently not. And Armagod for 2 says, hey, Spoon, say the EN word for me, please. Don't.
The EN word?
Yeah, N.
Why didn't you just say N? Why does it have to be EN? I'm confused.
I don't know.
What, Negro?
There you go. Okay. That is the word for the color black in Espanol.
Oh, negro.
Yes. So let's move on to this first story I wanted to talk about.
I will do a video one day where I say that word.
Oh my god!
I won't do it.
Say it.
I'm not gonna say it.
He's gonna wait. Actually, I want to play something though. It's related to this. Hang on. I sent it to you before, and it's in my video actually as well. Hang on. It's in my It's in my new video. Oh shoot! It was a while back.
I should actually say that word in a normal YouTube video because it's not against the terms of service to say faggio, and it also just sounds kind of
pasta,
gay,
isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they might get mad anyway.
What, faggio?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a type of pasta. I think I know the ones you're thinking of as well.
Or is it fagioli or something like that?
No, I think we're just making up words.
Probably. I don't know. I thought it was a type of pasta, but I could be wrong.
I'm not going to say that word. Get Aiden's freaking AI thing to say it.
When did I send it?
The soundboard.
I sent it to? It was a while back because it's in my new video.
Make me say the word thingy.
Oh, okay. Give me 1 second. I want to find this first, and then I'll make you say the word. I could have just probably looked at in my. I could have probably looked in my own script.
Oh, it's beans apparently.
Oh.
Sorry, there's a mandatory food reference.
Oh, this is here. Yeah. Okay.
Because we have to mention food. This is what
we have to mention food, obviously.
Yes. Pasta is the shit, though. Come on, everyone likes pasta. If you don't like pasta, it's because you're gay. And you hate Italians, you're kind of racist, too.
Where the heck? Why can't I find this now? What?
Aiden is having a bit of a meltdown, so I now have to entertain the show.
I'm not having a melty. I'm trying to find something I sent you.
Okay, spazzy.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. I found it. It's all good. We're all good. We're fine. This is what I wanted to play in response to that.
Pasta's not boring. How dare you find pasta boring?
Why are we still shooting?
And another thing that we always do is talk about Mass Effect. Or that we frequently do.
Yep.
I can't believe Wooly chose the green ending. Ugh, Wooly. I think I can play this music. I'll be fine, right?
Charging civil rights team.
Racism defeated! Now everyone's a little bit black! Yeah! Embrace the future.
Oh my god.
Embrace this future. How you gonna hate yourself, fool? Now what?
I love this reaction. This is the best thing Wooly's ever done. Oh, live and learn. Sorry, I don't know anything about music. My bad. I know a lot about weird music, but not normal stuff.
From far and wide.
I'm gonna get claimed. Oh, it's copyrighted. Fuck you, Wooly. Come on, but this is the best part. Okay, whatever. I'll just clip it out of the final thing.
Oh, from Paladin all the way to the flotilla. I feel different. To the edge of the
I feel different.
To the Batarian lands. To Tachanka. Oh, get the pass!
Let's go! You'll get the pass! Oh, it's your Sonic adventure too? Okay. It might be okay then.
At the same time, all life, all together, in sync and in unison.
What do you think about that, Parent? Well,
I approve. Yes.
Okay, so I'm talking about silly things. Wait, this isn't it. This isn't the funny thing. Why did I click? Did I click the wrong thing? No,
I'm assuming so.
I did. That's a nice thing. This is it. Popular Italian supermarket sued after woman's run-in with a piece of prosciutto.
What?
A woman who fractured her left ankle during a trip with her husband to the Italian food emporium Italy in Boston last year is blaming her injury on a piece of ham. Alice Cohen was heading to an area where food samples were distributed to customers on October 7th when she slipped on a piece of prosciutto and fell, according to a lawsuit filed Friday in Suffolk Superior Court in Boston. Alice Cohen sustained bodily injuries, a loss of enjoyment of life, pain and suffering, and incurred necessary medical expenses for medical care and attention, the lawsuit said.
You were born as a woman. You can't sue the restaurant for that.
It's not a restaurant. It's a grocery store where they were giving out samples.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, I think so. Oh my God. Her medical expenses, including a hospital visit and physical therapy, have resulted in more than $7,500 in bills, according to court reports. Cohen and her husband, Ronald of Gifford, New Hampshire, are
How big was the ham you slipped on?
And $50,000 in damages.
What?
Wait a minute. What? Like you said, you have $7,500 in bills, but you're seeking $50,000? Also, how did slipping on the meat cause a loss of enjoyment of life? Oh my God. The lawsuit claims Italy was negligent for not properly cleaning the floor. The lawsuit also claimed loss of consortium. I actually don't know what that means in this context. The restaurant, quote, had a duty to ensure that the surface of the floors were free from unnecessary dangers. Is it a restaurant?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a...
It says supermarket, restaurant. But then it said restaurant.
Okay.
Let's go there. There it says restaurant.
Let's just look it up. Italy, Boston. Oh, it is a restaurant. Okay. So, yeah, I thought it was a...
Yeah, because the headline said supermarket.
Let's see. What they got. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, no, they do grocery. So it says grocery delivery.
They do both?
Oh, they've got restaurants and a market. So who knows? I don't know what this was. I don't know if it was at their...
maybe.
I don't know if it was at their restaurant or if it was at their grocery store.
Sounds like a place I would visit, though.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
I just have to be careful of ham on the ground, otherwise I might slip and break a hip or some shit.
Right, and some prosciutto.
Yeah, and then sue the place for 50 grand.
Has a duty to use ordinary care to maintain the premises in a reasonably safe condition, and a duty to warn of such dangerous conditions, the lawsuit says. Italy is a gourmet Italian restaurant and food market with 8 locations in the U.S. and 8 overseas, according to the company's website. Prosciutto is a type of thinly sliced cured ham that originated in Italy. Thanks, Western Journal, for letting us know what prosciutto is.
By the way, dangerous, I think if they were to say hazardous, it would be better, because dangerous sounds way over the top.
Guys, this article is not even in my Woman Moment segment. That's next. This
isn't even just random thing you just saw?
No, this was in my funny and or white pills section.
How the hell do you slip on a piece of fucking ham?
I just don't.
What was the floor made of? Linoleum?
The video I'm about to release whenever my advertiser finally gives it the go ahead is about a very silly study. I have in the interim come across 2 other things involving studies. One that we covered last week, which was the professor at Florida State who faked a whole bunch of his research, and then also something we're going to cover tonight.
Yes, the one that was looking for racism, was it?
Yeah, who made up racism. And then the other one, which was a study that claims that absolutely 0 transgender female to males who have had top surgery, aka have a mastectomy, regret it. But I'm going to be looking at those data because we're going to talk about it tonight. However, I also have a funny study. And I have a lot of questions about just why. Why did you do this? Why? Crocodile perception of distress in hominid baby cries. Let me translate that. How do crocodiles react to the sound of a baby crying? A human baby crying?
Kill me now, please.
It is generally argued that distress vocalizations are a common modality for alerting conspecifics across a wide variety of terrestrial vertebrates, share acoustic features that allow heterospecific communication, yet studies suggest that the acoustic traits used to decode distress may vary between species, leading to decoding errors. Here we have found through playback experiments that Nile crocodiles are attracted to infant hominid cries, bonobo, chimpanzee, and human, and that the intensity of crocodile response depends critically on the set of acoustic features, mainly deterministic chaos, harmonicity, and spectral prominences. Our research suggests that crocodiles are sensitive to the degree of distress encoded in the vocalizations of phylogenetically very distinct vertebrates. because it wants to go eat it.
I was about to say, it just wants to eat it, you fucking idiot.
I can't believe.
How can you not tell? It's sensing something in distress will be easier to kill and eat. Welcome to basic mammal.
And a baby in particular that can't defend itself.
Not even mammal, sorry. It's like just basic, just anything that's alive that's going to hunt.
A comparison of these results with those obtained with human subjects confronted with the same stimuli further indicates that crocodiles and humans use different acoustic criteria to assess the distress encoded in infant cries. Interestingly, the acoustic features driving crocodile reaction are likely to be more reliable markers of distress than those used by humans. These results highlight that acoustic features encoding information and vertebrae sounds signals are not necessarily identical across species. Why? But why'd you do this study? Look, I am all on board with research. I have loved weird research. I think that anything that you can contribute to the wealth of human knowledge is useful. But why? Why did you do this? Well, I have a lot of questions.
I
have a lot of questions.
I'm in favor of stripping academia of as much money as we can and then reinvest it into architecture. And I think the chat would overwhelmingly agree with that assessment. Let's study neoclassical.
Speaking of classical,
let's make some Art Deco.
Speaking of classical music.
Okay, take a listen.
I saw this.
Thank you for that segue.
Walgreens. The store is just one of several now playing classical music outside. But the tunes are not for ambiance. NBC5's Charlie Wojciechowski explains.
It is if you're white.
This was the scene last month at a South Loop 7-Eleven. A teen takeover had left the convenience store in shambles. The next day, while debris still littered the street, speakers on the building blared opera. Music is the new tool here at Walgreens stores in River North and Greektown as well. But the reason for the music, according to Walgreens, is not to attract shoppers, but rather to discourage people from hanging around the store. In a statement, a company spokesperson confirmed at various locations, we have implemented a recorded music loop that plays classical music outside of some stores to help deter loitering on the premises.
Well, Spoon.
So what kind of people disapprove of that music?
I just, oh my god,
Could
it's
it be
truly clown world. It's truly, I mean, what, okay, what else, what am I supposed to say about this?
Could it be the melanated variety by any chance?
I don't even know how to, I don't even know how to react to this.
By dancing in a jig?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
I don't think I would be put off by a store if I went near and
they're clearly saying that a certain demographic of people,
blacks,
I'd say particularly young black males, is deterred by the sound of
that's not male or females.
Is deterred by the sound of classical music. I think that's what they're saying. But
so basically, you're saying blacks are deterred by European.
I just
the upper echelon of European music.
Why though? Why does European classical music?
Because it doesn't have drums.
Why would it? Yeah, why would it drive away people who do crimes?
Because it doesn't have drums.
I
There's
guess
no bass.
so. Unbelievable. I also have one little nice. This is a little white pill before I move into women moments. More specifically, this is just a little thing because I'm not gonna play this whole video, but and I did find it kind of weird to show your baby on camera, but PewDiePie had his son was born, which I think is really sweet, and I'm really happy for him and Marcia, which I'm not gonna play the video. I just thought, hey, look, something nice in the world. That's sweet. I thought this was a cute video.
Mini Pewds?
Yes, his name is Bjorn.
Right? Is it really?
Oh, he's a cute baby with the two dogs. It's so cute. Again, I'm kind of up in the air about showing your baby on camera. It's a baby though. Like, they're not gonna. I don't know. Anyway, well, something nice.
Considering how many people have seen him, I don't think us showing it is going to be the end of the world.
Oh no, I'm not saying that me showing it is the problem. I'm him doing it at all is what I was kind of like. Should you do that? I don't know. Cute baby though, and cute with the pugs, very adorable. And congratulations to Felix and Marcia.
Yeah, like a pug.
Yeah, he's good too. Yeah, Bjorn. I think that's very nice. Before we get into women moments, I'm gonna hit the super chats that we got.
What the
in
hell?
The opening hilarity segment. What's up?
Extinction Rebellion activist who stabbed fiance to death as he
Don't
begged
worry,
her not to be jailed.
Don't worry, I've got it in here.
For at least 24 years. What the fuck?
Don't worry, I've got that story in here, Spoon.
It's on screen.
Oh, right. Oh, I thought that I forgot because I was going to cover the super chats and I forgot that.
What the?
That I had. Yeah, we'll get to it. Wow, my brain died there for a second. Lance for 5 says, I know this is awful, but I hope the conflicts in Niger continues going on long enough until Biden is forced to pronounce Niger live. Oh, or Niger, yeah. Oh, I'd love to see that. Oh my god, that would be fun. DRT's King for 5 says, since you didn't get to it, can you get Poe of Poe's Law on this channel since there was a desire to get her on this channel? Yeah, I can try to ask Poe.
Who is that?
I went on Poe the person. I went on her channel on Women's Hour a couple weeks ago to talk about Barbie. I'll see if she'd like to come on sometime.
I want somebody else to come here.
Yeah, DRT did.
Oh, God.
Peter for 5 says, in terms of saying words, there is a strong evidence that YouTube scanning censor bots give up after about the 2-hour mark. Yeah, I have heard that. I don't know.
Really?
Tato chip. I don't think there's certain words I think that they're pretty aggressive about. You know.
Can I test this?
I'd really prefer if you didn't, but.
Oh, you're no fun.
We're reviewing the Barbie movie, yeah.
I'm if I can.
Oh, right.
I'm gonna see if I can get the movie done by Saturday. I'm not making any promises though.
Spoon is making a probably nearly hour-long review of Barbie, which would be by far his longest video.
I did 11 pages yesterday, which wasn't actually as difficult as I thought it would be. Because when I'd done it, I went like, oh, how much do I have to go? And I'm like, oh shit, I actually did like 11 pages. Like, holy shit, it's about 25 minutes. So yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of jokes in it, actually.
Fun. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
I
don't know how I'm gonna make pictures or anything because I break it down scene by scene. So how the fuck I'm gonna do that? I don't know. I'll see how it goes. Oh hell no! I'm not gonna, Johnny. I'm never gonna dress in that thing. Like that to me is cringe. I've seen guys dress in it.
The Ken hoodie.
Yeah, like why? No.
No, you could pull it off probably.
Why?
I don't know. Stop being bald and bleach your hair. There you go. You can pull off the Ken look.
I don't have any hair to bleach.
I'm saying grow it out.
No.
Get a wig. Get a toupee.
Oh fuck no. Leave my shiny head alone. I look like Kratos.
A tater chip for 2 viewers says, on today's food topic, I like apple cider. Me too. I also like apple cider vinegar. Has a Hopper for 5 says, Spoon barking like a trained seal every time someone asks him to say a slur because he won't say, oh, whoa. Shaking my head. I know. He won't say it. Luckily, well, what did you want me to have you say through the,
that thing.
The AI earlier? What?
That one.
Oh, right. Okay. There's something earlier. There was another thing you wanted me to have it say.
You need to get a Duke Nukem soundboard. You get him to say groovy.
Which one? Groovy?
Yes.
Let's see if I can find that here. I don't see that one here.
What?
But
what do they have?
It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum. And I'm all out of gum.
That's such a good voice.
It's so good, yeah.
He's modeled after Dirty Harry, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'd heard at least.
Yeah, that's what the original voice actor said. I watched an interview with him. And he said all of his lines were delivered by him gritting his teeth.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny that I just did that because the soundboard website just went down. There we go. It's back up now. Anywho. But it's not... What are you doing? Okay. Why is the soundboard screwed up?
Balls of steel.
There we go. Okay, it's fine now. I didn't even see balls of steel there easily, but I can find it sometime. Anywho. Where was I? Oh, right. Okay. So, let's see. Mr. Twisted Frenzy, for 5 years, says, when the rabbit screams in the night and the fox comes quickly, but it doesn't come to help. What is that a reference to? Oh, the crocodile thing?
That wouldn't surprise me.
I think so, yeah. Sol on the Lich for 20 ARS says fire alarm neglecting individual, please. Yeah.
Now, which individuals are known for not hearing fire alarms?
Or letting them battery die on them. Hasselhoff for 2 says, how can they do the thug shaker without any bass? That's true.
In fairness, they come from a place where they're not known for making electricity, so I suppose they probably like fire.
Horwitz Feinberg and Horwitz says, ooh, I know of 6 UDF stores that play the jogger repellent over speakers, lol. UDF? United Dairy Farmers, you from Cincinnati, my dude. Or Ohio, holy shit. Okay.
That's so
I miss UDF.
The fucking jogger repellent, that's really good. Oh god, the jogger streams. Oh god, I miss Louis when he used to do those. I wish he still had some of those streams up. He was saying, look, it's the one white cop in all of Chicago. It was fucking funny as shit.
Look, I know that...
Good for you.
It's probably... Hang on. Let me show you this. I know that this is just a vanilla ice cream. But I miss this. And it's something that you can only... It's from UDF. Can you load, please? Image. You're going to be shitty. Cool. I'm just going to show you this picture. That food topic, obviously.
Okay.
I don't know why this is like such low quality. Oh, whatever. It's cookie dough and vanilla. But this is... Hang on. Whoops. Oh, I love this stuff. Blue Moo, man. It's blue. It makes it cool. Then you got the blue ice cream. The Superman is the vanilla one. That's what I forgot, which is also like just like rainbow colored. I love this one though. It's really yummy. Okay, that's childish. Huh?
Zoom out.
It's like weirdly
there we go.
Justified to one side. I don't know.
It looks like bubble.
Why is it blue though? You'd think it would be, but it's not. It's cookie dough flavor. Yeah.
Why is it blue?
And I forgot that the Superman is like vanilla. Everyone says they don't know what flavor Superman actually is, but you know.
Tastes like journalism.
I miss UDF ice cream. Extinction Rebellious. This is we're now on the Women Moments segment. Extinction Rebellion activist who stabbed fiance to death as he begged her not to, jailed for at least 24 years. But hang on. An Extinction Rebellion activist who wanted to be a human rights lawyer was jailed for life after stabbing her fiance to death in the middle of a London street. Actually, let me see. We've got images on here.
Wait, she stabbed him?
Yeah.
And she wanted to be a human rights lawyer?
Yeah.
God, she is ugly as fuck.
With witnesses saying that the slain man could be heard desperately saying, "Please, Blaze, I love you, Blaze." Blaze dealt Samuel a killer 4-centimeter wound, leaving him to beg passersby for help before he bled out. Wallace was unanimously convicted at Kingston upon Thames Crown Court for murder and possession of an offensive weapon after a 3-week trial. The court sentenced Wallace to life with a minimum of 24 years, but caveated that she may never be released. Judge Rajiv Shetty told Wallace, "You stabbed him once in the chest, wearing a Casper the Friendly Ghost sweatshirt. You stabbed him with sufficient force at a downward angle for the knife to go through his ribcage, cartilage, and heart. He shouted for help and was losing blood. In contrast to the people who tried to assist him, you did nothing and left the scene, allowing him to die and showing a complete lack of remorse that you stabbed him in the chest. He had a life that, like yours, was blighted by heavy drug use, but despite this, he was well liked by his family as well as known in the local area. It was a volatile relationship, and he had been violent towards you, and witnesses gave evidence of critical theme of arguments in the street and at home at which you were the aggressor." Wallace claimed the killing was in her defense and that of her unborn child, but the court rejected this claim. The court heard that the couple were under the influence of heroin, cocaine, and cannabis the night of the stabbing. She was pregnant. Judge Shetty said, "You followed him around 6 minutes later.
She was pregnant, but they had coke, weed, and heroin inside their stomachs?
Yeah. And basically her argument here is that she wants to not be a
human rights lawyer.
Yeah. And moreover, which
hang on. Yeah. Human rights lawyer who was doing cocaine, weed, and heroin and was pregnant.
Yep.
So I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around.
Yep. What? And I reject that you took the case. Things got violent. You had to protect yourself. You kept that knife out of view, and in a rage and anger, being slighted after being called nasty, you caught up with him outside the Stag Brewery in Lower Richmond Road. He was not a threat to you at all, neither attacked you or attempted to attack you, and I reject this was excessive self-defense. You stabbed him in the middle of the chest where his heart is. It must have been intention to kill. The judge sentenced Wallace to 4 years concurrent to the life term of the offense of the weapons charge. The thing is, though, is that she's basically demanding that she not serve 24 years, that he be put off for 24 years because she's pregnant, and that way she can take care of her child, so that she can't start serving her sentence for 24 years.
What?
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
That's what she wants.
That's fucking woman logic is what that is.
Killed her husband, well, fiance, whatever, and while being pregnant on heroin and cocaine and weed. And he was like, but can I put it off for 24 years?
I really care about my kid, but I'm going to stab the husband of the child.
Because I care about my kid, right? So,
oh, God,
typical Extinction Rebellion activist, right? Here's another more feminist garbage. So,
this is really funny.
Sitting in my cabin in the garden painting, night after night, listening to all the good tunes you play. Huge fan, as you know. This is my final creation. Hope you like it. Woman posts picture of her art. The Irish feminist responds, Magella, this is clearly Aboriginal artwork and cultural appropriation. The symbols and motifs you're using are specific to Indigenous peoples, and you are not permitted to use them. In doing so, you have devalued and disrespected the proper cultural meanings. It's dots and circles.
Yeah, which isn't
it's
even
geometric
Aboriginal.
Shapes. How is it Aboriginal?
Yeah, it's
How?
not.
I didn't realize that by doodling with dots, I was being disrespectful to anyone. You could say imitation is a serious form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness. But really, my dots are just dots that my mind randomly chose. Apologies if I offended anyone. Dot art is very therapeutic and meditative, and it helps me mentally when things become overwhelming. It's my medicine, and certainly not meant to be disrespectful. I have huge respect for all Indigenous people. The Irish feminist retorts, it's not about the dot. The symbols and imagery you've inadvertently depicting are specific to Indigenous peoples and require permission for use. Did you know that only certain Aboriginal clans can use dot painting? Aside from cultural appropriate, you're infringing copyright.
No, they're not.
These people are insane. You're out of your mind. You're absolutely out of your mind.
Did you see how many people are following that account?
The Irish feminist?
Yes.
Nobody, yeah. Still, just...
Exactly, that makes me think, like, why in the hell did the person respond then? Like Magella, you could just tell them to go fuck off.
I know.
You know.
Just, she's also a relatively small channel, but just, this is the lunacy. This is just the lunacy.
She's the wife of a country singer in Ireland.
Right, yes. She is sort of famous by association because she's married to a country singer. So, yeah, this is ridiculous. How can you copyright dots?
Yes.
Insane. But this is how they think, because they're all nuts.
Yeah. Welcome to Ireland, where cultural appropriation is still a thing, like 7 years after it died off in the US.
Yeah.
Which is fucking bizarre.
This is interesting.
This is funny.
I
saw the Lotus Eaters covering this.
Lotus Eaters covered it. Yep.
I didn't read the article.
Measuring GDP is anti-feminist and colonial. Oxfam, which is like Oxfam is like a far left feminist kind of group. Oxfam bosses claim amid calls that it should measure the value of women's domestic work. Oxfam bosses claim that GDP fails to recognize the value of cooking and cleaning. They claim that GDP gives precedence to market relations over family relations. How did this happen? This far left feminist organization is now saying like, oh, but actually we should value women for domestic work.
Isn't Oxfam the one that spent all their money shipping paedophiles around the world on a custom tour of every single impoverished area on the face of the planet?
I believe they are, but I can't recall exactly, Bill. I think that does sound like Oxfam who did that.
Even the mainstream media had to report on it.
Yeah, they're dirty. They're completely, totally dirty organization.
So the people they ship.
But it's so, I mean, just the irony of being like, well, okay, the reason why women make less than men, and we have to figure out the reason why, is, and you can't use GDP to measure it alone, because then what ends up happening is it finds out that, well, the reason why women make less than men, if you look at just GDP, is because women don't work as much. Women stay home and do housework. And so they're basically saying, well, now all of a sudden we need to value housework. So GDP is not a good measurement. The entire basis of the wage gap, they're now saying, is anti-feminist.
Which is hilarious.
It's funny to me. Yeah, I mean.
By the way, I think Sargon pointed this out as well. The reason why they're annoyed by this is because they can't measure it.
Of course they can't, because they're trying to measure something that's immeasurable.
Yes, but the whole point of it, the whole point of their fucking organization is just that we must be able to measure things, and when we can't, they get pissed off.
Yeah, Oxfam has faced claims women in Haiti and Africa were sexually exploited by its staff and was for a time banned from receiving government funding. Yeah. I mean, it's just so silly. It's so silly. They finally freaking realized that there is a value in women doing housework and raising children, but only when they're pissed off because their stuff doesn't work, because their calculations are all wrong, because it's all based on fantasy and nonsense. Oh yeah, this picture of J.K. Rowling.
It kind of reminds me of that thing where Chris Rock used to make a joke is that women will complain about everything. And the one thing they will complain about, for example, is if a man makes more, like, why do I make more money than you? They will just bitch about it. And if they make less money than you, it'll be like, you need to give me more money.
Right.
It's like, they just live to complain.
If a woman makes more, she's not interested in a man who makes less. You see this all the time with these dating profiles, right? It's like, what's your ideal, how much do you think a partner, if you're looking for a partner, how much should they make? $500,000 a year, something ridiculous like that. They'll always say that kind of crap. And it's like, okay, so we want a millionaire, which is ridiculous. Not a whole lot of those, but okay, you want a millionaire, but you also want to work kind of in that you want but you don't want to work like a real job. You don't want to dig a ditch. You want to sit in an office and do nothing, pretty much. But you don't really want to work, do you? But you can't say that, can you? Because then that's not very feminist of you. Women are the modern woman is just a complete. And not all of them, obviously. I'm speaking as one myself, but the average modern woman is just a freaking... Because of all the lies and bullshit that we get told from the left, from birth, essentially. And it's funny because they'll say, oh, you get told about the patriarchy and to be subservient and all this. It's like, no, you don't. Not how long ago? Oh, come on. Stop lying. You didn't even get told that shit 60 years ago. You were told you could go to university. You were told that you could get an education. It's been that way for so long, so you're just making up lies. But I do understand why women fall for it, because they get told the lies the whole life.
Why is being subservient to a man a bad thing?
I don't get it, personally.
Oh, look, good. A husband has a lot of power over you, but you also have no freaking responsibilities because he's the one doing everything.
But being subservient isn't necessarily also a bad thing in that...
Yeah, we're monarchists, obviously we think that.
Right, okay, so maybe not the best person to ask on that one. It's like, okay, look... You're always a serf. There's always someone above you. There are natural hierarchies.
Yes,
if you're upset about it,
to something. Yeah, someone in the comment section just said, "I won't be a serf," and someone else in the comments just said, "Yeah, we already are. It's called debt." Right. And we're like, "Yeah, there we go." Case in point, there's
a million ways in which
Peterson
we're all
said
serfs.
that as well. He just said, "Whatever you do and you spend most of your time with, or whatever you're hooked on, that will be your god." And he's right. This idea that, oh, look, I will bow to no man. That's the typical American fucking liberal argument, which is just fucking dumb as shit. But no, that's not the way the world works. You will bow to something. Something will rule you, whether you like it or not.
Jake the Just asked if I'm subordinate to Bill. I better be, or he'll come up here with the mace.
And so will I.
You're gonna come up here? You're gonna come over here with a mace too?
No, just a ladle.
No. He's like one of those huge ladles they use in the Chinese cooking in these gigantic woks.
Yeah, just thump, you just thunk.
Thunk. But speaking of women being crazy, we've played this woman before. She popped off on TikTok by literally
by the way,
doing the NPC meme.
Listen to this woman's accent. There's a reason why she does just motions and talks very little.
This is one of the ice cream, yum,
Yeah.
Oh, fire, fire, fire. Yeah, she's one of those NPCs.
If you can understand this woman, and please, because this woman needs translated for this shit.
It's sure different, but basically the TLDR is she's a porn star, and people looked at her porn without paying her, and she's not very happy. She's what you might call big mad.
So I went to Google.
Google. What is a Google? Oh, sorry.
Link it, and I click on pictures. And what I see what I see, there's a lot of page. There's a lot of page. You keep swiping.
Her name is
and
Paige.
swiping and swiping. It don't stop. It don't stop. And I see all this website. How dare you? You gonna let other
You
people
pause for a
put
second.
my face, my body
Yeah.
out.
Is it just me, or is she still talking as if that app was
Like
running?
like she's in the NPC mode.
Yes. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird. Like she's been co-opted by the technology.
She's been doing it for so long, probably it's maybe changed her speech pattern a little bit.
Yeah, it seems to be, which is kind of weird.
Out here doing stuff like that. How dare you? Without asking an ID. Where's the ID terms? Tell me that. What's up? I'm gonna tell you something today. I'm gonna sue all of you.
Uh-oh, a
All of you,
lawsuit.
I'm gonna sue you. I'm gonna sue you.
Yeah, I
Y'all
can
wanna
sue
play
shit.
with me? You allow other people post pictures,
Uh-oh.
dog? Really? Cause you know you're about to get paid? Well, guess what? I'm about to get all that money.
Okay, sure. You know what this reminds me of? This kind of freak out.
She's actually quite quiet, because I know when black women go off, they get louder than that. That was fairly restrained.
It just kind of reminds me of this. Maybe not image. Copy link address. There we go.
By the way,
Just gives me these kind of vibes.
I'm telling you right now, this is from her father. You bunch of lying, no good punks. And I know who it's coming from because I
back traced it.
And I know
that guy's got one impressive mustache.
You ever seen this?
The cyber police and the state police. So you better write
The cyber
one
police
more
and the
thing,
state police.
Or screw with my computer again, you'll be arrested. End of conversation from her father.
You're right, fucking gonna come and beat her ass.
And if you come near my daughter, guess what? Consequences will never be the same. You lying bunch of pricks.
It gave. Do you see why I pulled it up? It gives me the same vibes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sue all of you. I'm gonna sue all of you for for looking at my photos that I uploaded.
By the way, why is this is something that I've noticed.
How are women this like? How can you be this stupid? You put your stuff on the internet. How can you not understand that people are gonna take pictures of it and re-upload it elsewhere? Dingus. Go ahead. Who are you gonna sue? Make an attempt.
Also,
shoot your shot.
Also,
I love to see it.
This is something that I've noticed in America, especially. Right, the mixed chicks are always fucking insane. And also, they're the most racist. I don't know why.
It's weird. I think it's like some kind of
it's their mix. Like men when they get mixed, they seem to be all right. Women get mixed, they go fucking nuts. And you know what's something I've noticed as well? The mixed chicks never embrace the lighter side. They always go for the dark side.
Yeah, that I've always found that weird too.
They completely reject their white side, and I have no idea why. Like, why the hell would you pick the lesser of the two?
Why do
I
women do it?
No, just like,
why do women do it? Privilege points, dingus. Victim points. They absolutely are
self-conscious. Why would you be the victim when you could be the successor?
They are, a lot of them are very self-conscious. No, it's not all. You know, Brittany Venti's a quarter black.
Is she?
Yeah.
Kind of just depends. Kind of depends on the person. Like, for example, like Slash from Guns N' Roses, he's half black.
Yeah.
You never know,
the Auschwitz, you know? There's plenty of, like, it's...
Yeah, but Auschwitz are whitewashed.
Right.
That's just their own phrase, by the way.
I know.
And also, they are extremely based, because they say some shit that if anyone else said it, they would, like...
Yes.
They would instantly get banned. Like, I've seen in some of the videos where they just openly say, it just goes, yeah, because then they mix with black blood, and therefore they commit more crimes. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Calm down, Kevin. Fucking goddamn. Like, he openly said it's a gene thing. I'm like, can I say that? Why is it that only he can say that? Why is it that if you think this is a real thing, then get more people to say it rather than just the twins? Because even Keith's face is like, fucking hell, calm down, Kevin.
I know. Cole Summers for 2 says, Spoon, the mixed ones have that embrace are behaved. I do think that's probably it. Brit's a third? I thought she was a quarter. Whatever. So that's actually more then. But yeah, you wouldn't, you know, Brittany, like, Brittany has such, well, she calls it this, so it's her terminology. I'm not saying this to be insulting. And she's got total, like, white girl bimbo energy. That's what she goes for. And I think that's just fun, by the way, personally.
I used to have a friend who was mixed, and I used to call her a half-breed.
Oh my god, okay.
No, that was like her gimmick when she and I spoke. Okay. Like I was called Pons.
It was like, playful, yeah.
Yeah, because the English word is for pretentious is Pons. Right. And so it was like, all right, Pons, and then I was like, all right, half breed. And if she were to get like in a happy face, she would like pull a smug face to go like happy half breed, and it's basically the gimmick. Yeah, she ran with it.
That Blue Moon ice cream. They might not have it anymore, Jarnagi. Send Your Son for 5 New Zealand says, is Anthony Oliver your favorite person? He's got a song about West Virginia that is a laugh. We watched it last week. I see the man doing some damage for the next era. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it in a little bit because the apparatus is big mad at him. I sent him an email. There's no way he's going to respond.
The apparatus is big mad.
At his message. Yes.
I don't even know the song.
Didn't we listen to it last week?
No. You sent it to me, but I haven't listened to it.
You haven't listened to it?
No.
Do you think Anthony will get upset? I don't think so. Hang on. I don't think he'll personally mind. Everyone's heard it, so I'm gonna get to this in a minute. But
half and chuff.
Yeah, let's play a little bit of it then, because it's fantastic. I want guys, please go follow Anthony on X or whatever. Oliver Anthony. I get confused when people have 2 first names. I'm sorry. It's a fantastic song. Yes, I love it. It's been stuck in my head for like a week. But we'll play a little bit of it. We're going to read some of the lyrics. It's going to cover some of it. So the anger about this song, you'll see people are quite angry about this song because it's speaking to people. It's speaking to working class people, and they're supposed to feel dejected and downtrodden and hopeless. Okay. And the song makes them feel like they're not alone. And makes it no good.
I've been selling my soul.
His voice is amazing.
Working all day, overtime hours.
15 million views in a week.
Bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away. Drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me and people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an old soul. Rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. And your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. Cause the rich men, the rich men. I'm wanting to play 4 big guys. Anywho, the song is fantastic. I highly suggest, please go give it a full listen. I gave it a minute. There's 3 more of it, and it's there are some lines. There is a line that is heavily implied to be about Epstein's Island. We're gonna get to. And yes, he does have a magnificent beard. But oh my god, his voice is fantastic. His guitar playing is amazing, and the song it's speaking to people, it's speaking to millions of people.
I'm guessing Bill did not approve.
Oh no, he liked it. I sent it to him. He liked the song, but yeah, because of the Richmond, north of Richmond. Of course, what's north of Richmond, Spoon? It's the District of who are the Richmond north of Richmond is the District of Columbia, DC.
Oh, so. Yes.
This is people were also mad. There's a couple lines in there about how people are spending government money. Big fat people are spending government money to buy fudge rounds with their welfare checks. And then he also says
Chris
something
Christie?
that he says, huh?
Chris Christie? You said fat man. That's the first one I could think of.
Yeah. Well, he's saying like welfare queen kind of stuff. We're going to get into both the Rolling Stone and...
Oh, that's fat people, same thing.
Actually, it's not just Rolling Stone. It's New Republic, which is a conservative outlet, complained about this song. Which, when you're making everybody mad, that's a good sign in my book. So, yeah, he said, one of the lines is that something about, like, spending government money. If you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, the government ought to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. And then there's another line where it's, I know, so they're mad about the fat phobia. And then he says, one of the other lines is, let me try to recall it here, is, I wish politicians would look out for minors and not just minors on an island somewhere.
Oof. Damn, that's a nice shot. Good rhyme, too.
So they're mad. They are big mad at this young man who is incredibly talented. But I'm going to get more into that later. I just thought I'd play that now since it was brought up.
If you're gonna promote,
I love the song.
If you're gonna promote a musician, I say promote that guy too. It's not political. He does just insane shit on a guitar.
Oh, he's amazingly talented. So yeah, definitely listen to his whole song and check out his album.
The one I just sent you on Discord.
Oh, what?
The one I just sent you on Discord.
Hang on, jump to present. Oh, Fleetwood Mac. Oh, I love The Chain.
Yes, but you should listen to that version because that version is better than the actual song.
I'll send you a version that I like better, but I'll listen to yours later, and then I'll send you my favorite version of The Chain.
Promote it on the channel. Is it amazing?
Okay, sure. I'm not too worried about playing Oliver Anthony's song, but I am afraid of playing The Chain. So this is the Justin Johnson. Still. Spoon recommends this.
Yes, everyone should subscribe to this guy because this guy's guitar playing is insane. I don't know how I stumbled on him. I just saw this guy like, oh, he just played blues, and then like 5 seconds later, I'm like, I don't know who this guy is, but I'm instantly subscribing to him, and I'm watching everything he's ever done.
Oh, it's one of my favorite songs. I love Fleetwood Mac.
He does the whole thing just by himself on the drum.
Damn, that's pretty impressive.
Yes, and just like he manages to do the guitar, the bass, and the vocals.
Yeah.
Onto instruments, which is
it's pretty damn
one
impressive.
recording.
Oh, really?
Yes, he does it. Yes, he does it live with the drum on his feet.
Shit, dude, that's awesome.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Subscribe to the guy. The guy's the shit.
So my throughway, like my segments got a little bit messed up there because it brought up Oliver Anthony. But this is the last article I have in the woman segment, which is I was banned from boarding my flight when I turned up in a bikini. It was very annoying, but people were saying I'm in the wrong.
I hope that's a troll.
No, I don't think so.
What's worse, she's stupid or obnoxious?
Kine? I don't know. I'm gonna say Kine. That's how I'm pronouncing it. Kine-chan from Brazil was banned from her flight for dressing in cosplay. Woman claims to have been banned from boarding a flight after dressing in cosplay at the airport. 21-year-old model, influencer, and OnlyFans content creator appealed at the Navegantes airport in Brazil dressed in Rebecca cosplay, a way of dressing inspired by people from whatever. Okay, we don't have to explain cosplay to me, Daily Mail. Rebecca's a character from a Netflix anime, Cyberpunk Edge Runners. She's become a fan favorite due to her revealing outfits. You showed up at an airport like this. I'm sorry, you're an attention whore. Like, there's no other word for it. And also, I have a question. Why are there all these photos of her at the airport? Who took the photos? I think she wanted this to happen, right? Like, why are there all these photos of her at the airport? She knew she was doing this for attention, right? Cool. That's clearly what this was. She probably wasn't intending to get kicked out, but she was clearly trying to get attention to sell herself.
She's not even that attractive.
She's cute.
No, she's not.
I mean, whatever. But just, yeah, what are you doing? And basically, her argument was, well, I didn't want to be late, so I just thought I'd wear my costume on the plane.
That's the most retarded argument I've ever heard.
Look, as someone who did cosplay for years and for over a decade, I can't imagine one. Now, I have been in a car and flown and driven to something in a pretty simple costume, but I'm sorry. This is just, now you wanted attention and you got it. And she couldn't go to her event. So, okay. It's about publicity chooms. Yeah, it is. Anyhow, that's the end of my women's segment. Let's talk about the Trump indictments.
Yes.
Have you been sufficiently triggered enough to, or should I keep going about other, like, stupid things?
Oh, God. What other stupid shit do you have?
I mean, do you want to talk about transgender stuff? That kind of leads into it.
Oh, God. Wait, that isn't Trump?
No. I'm saying, do you want to go into Trump indictment stuff, or do you want to talk about other things before we get? What do you guys want to do first? I thought I wanted to wake Spoon up because he said he was sleepy. He said he was a sleepy Spoon when we started, so I wasn't sure what start out with.
Actually, no, Rob. I just have very, very high standards for attraction.
All right, I'm just going to go into this. Go into the Trump indictments because we got a lot.
I have been with a handful of like very, very attractive women, and my scale for like hotness is really, really high.
I don't think she's unattractive though. I think she's cute. She's pretty well, built. She's got a big butt. I guess that's the thing people like. Yeah, she's clearly an attention whore though. I mean, that's the thing is that her legs are just thick. Whatever. It's being this attention whore kind of shit that makes me way less attracted to her and think kind of an ugly person. On the inside,
we have to do.
So I'm just gonna go with it. I'm just gonna do a poll. Do you guys okay? If you guys want me to do a poll, okay. Trump. Ooh, I rump indictment. She's gonna get a rump indictment. Trump indictment. Oh wait, it has to make a poll. I have to do that. Control X and start a poll. And...
Clockwork: 4 Trump indictments drop after 4 damning Biden business revelations.
Oh, this is just trans.
Isn't that interesting?
What?
Every Biden revelation, there's an indictment of Trump. Funny how that works.
We're gonna go through that because Breitbart again has done a very good job. But I'll ask you guys what you'd like to start with. I'll show you what I've got as it comes to the trans stuff, so you can give you a kind of idea. And then I also just have general insanity things.
What's general insanity? I'm curious. What's the general?
General insanity. I can read you some of the headlines, I guess, which is it's COVID stuff. That 80% of third graders in South Africa can't read. Stuff about Oliver Anthony.
Back home.
Yeah, I told you about that. I sent you that the other day.
Oh, I thought this was like in California. I didn't know it was in my country.
Yeah, that 80% of third graders couldn't read. Yeah. In terms of the transgender stuff, this is my big story that I wanted to cover because I read. Well, I haven't quite read this study yet, but I've looked into it a little bit. I will be making a video on this.
I don't believe this for a second.
Nope, and I'm gonna show you guys why. I'm gonna show you why it's very silly. People are saying to start with the Trump indictment pretty heavily. So.
Okay. Let's go with the Trump indictment then.
Let's start with that then. Alrighty. It's just starting to change a little bit, but there's some quick ones. Yeah, the 80%, it's pretty bad. So here we go. Here's an interesting timeline of the Trump indictments. So 4 damning news cycles about the Biden family business bombshell revelations were each immediately followed by 4 indictments of former President Donald Trump, causing conservatives to question if the synchronization was just a coincidence.
No, it's totally not.
My God. Not at all. Here's the timeline. March 16th, Hunter Biden admits the laptop from hell was his after years of denial. March 18th, Manhattan DA office leaks the news of the first indictment. June 8th, House Oversight Committee Republicans confirm the FBI FD 1023 file in which an FBI informant claims to possess 2 pieces of evidence that show President Joe Biden received $5 million after threatening to withhold aid to Ukraine until a prosecutor, Victor Shokin, probing the Ukrainian energy company Burisma Holdings was fired. Well, son of a bitch. And then on June 9th, the next day, special counsel Jack Smith releases grand jury indictment of Trump in the documents case. Third, July 31st, Devin Archer, Hunter Biden's best friend in business, testifies before the House Oversight Committee that then Vice President Joe Biden participated in more than 20 business phone calls to sell the Biden brand to associates. Remember, Devin Archer was on the board of Burisma with Hunter Biden. August 1st, the next day, special counsel Jack Smith releases Trump's January 6th indictment. And now, fourth, on the 11th, Attorney General Merrick Garland designates a special counsel in the Hunter Biden case, and 3 days later, on the 14th, a Georgia grand jury indicts Trump for questioning the 2020 election. And that's where we're at now, by the way, guys. For this new indictment, this is over him questioning the 2020 election.
It is not a crime.
They're trying to put him in jail for it, as always. Every time one of these nonsensical, politicized, and unconstitutional indictments against President Trump has been designed not only to hurt his chances come 2024, I don't think they are, but also to cover up and deflect attention from the far more serious and egregious crimes of President Biden's son and partner in crime, Hunter Biden. Gavin Wax, president of the New York Young Republicans Club, told Breitbart News. Absolutely. How? I mean, I'm sorry. Like, once, it's just a one-off. Once is just a random thing. Twice, Could be a coincidence. 3 times, that's a pattern. 4 times, yeah, I'm sorry. No. It's a well-established pattern. We're talking statistical probability now. Okay? In that this is not random error. I mean, it could be, but like it's very that's it every single time.
Random error, like fucking hell, you gotta be kidding me.
Well, I'm using statistical terminology. This is not. I don't think this is random error. I mean, then they're so incompetent. But because they care only about the news cycle, so they have to be like, oh shit, get rid of that. Indict Trump again. Okay.
It really goes to show you that of all the things happening in the world, that this is your go-to. That you must hammer Trump. Like really, you don't have any other thing distraction. You don't have any like other submarines you can blow up.
Yeah. But look at these people too who are involved in this, right? Like Judge and Donald Trump DC case related to most influential Marxist revolutionaries. Judge Tanya Chutkan, who's assigned to January 6th case against President Trump, was related to some of the most influential Jamaican Marxists.
Yeah.
Her grandfather, Frank Hill, and great-uncle Ken Hill played a key role in founding Jamaica's People's National Party, PNP. Ken Hill was by far the most influential member of the Marxist group within the PNP, according to one member of the group. And that's her grandfather and great-uncle. So, I mean, like, that's not it's a little bit, it's not necessarily damning, but not necessarily damning or anything. She didn't do it. But come on, like they're trying to set him up obviously with these crooked judges who have they're politicians. They don't care about law. They don't care about justice. They care about their politics. That's why they get into it, which is disgusting. You shouldn't go into the law for that, but people clearly do.
Yeah. Yay, democracy.
At this point, it's like clockwork, he said. Every time there's a major revelation in the Biden investigation, the very next day, President Trump gets indicted, which shifts the focus of the Republican donor base from defeating Biden and congressional Democrats in 2024 to defending Trump from this unprecedented lawfare. And let's not get it twisted. This is lawfare. This is lawfare. This is not. They don't really care about indicting him. They're not really concerned about the horrible, supposedly illegal things he's done. They don't give a shit. They just, this is just about political persecution.
Yeah. It's about deflection.
Obviously. Yes. Yeah. Obviously. And deflection, clearly. Because, just absolutely insane. So let's look at the specific Georgia one, which is, again, just about criticizing. He's now being put on trial for just saying he thought that there might be untoward stuff with the 2020 election. Need we go back to 2016, Hillary Clinton? Because I'm going to take us there in a minute. Remember when Hillary Clinton said for years that the 2016 election was rigged? Where's her indictment? Trump should have locked her up. Failure on that part. Judge in Georgia, and here's how serious this is. And Spoon, this is definitely not political lawfare. This is definitely not a political persecution and a kangaroo court. Here's the judge in this Georgia case.
All right. Thanks, Sheriff. Good luck the rest of the evening. Appreciate it. You bet. That's it? Was it all you hoped it would be?
Can you tell us what it says?
I did get a good look. So, you all need to leave? I mean that politely and nicely. You've had a long day, but these folks can't go until you all go. I know we had talked about leaving the equipment here. Don't leave the equipment here because you're not going to want to be here tomorrow. I mean, you're welcome to be here if you don't have a Rule 22 for what's going on tomorrow. It's just good old trial stuff.
Just cracking jokes.
Just cracking jokes. Really funny. Just comes off like kind of dweeby.
Maybe. You're trying to indict the president, though.
Yes.
Or you are indicting the president.
My house of ill repute.
And I wouldn't even necessarily be that alone. Wouldn't be so.
No way in hell anyone
if it wasn't that the DA also did it.
Now take a very limited number of questions.
Just like the president.
To going to sleep.
Just like the president.
So they're having they seem to be having the time of their lives with this, right? All of them. The journalists, the DA, the judge. It's all very funny to them. You're talking about criminally charging the former president of the United States. How funny.
Trump, I don't know if you're going to get back into office, but when you do, take the gloves off and fucking start slitting throats. Metaphorically
speaking. Even the sheriff is giddy. If we have a mugshot, we'll have a mugshot. They really want the mugshot, right?
And Trump,
Fulton County Sheriff
you do realize if you get a mugshot, Trump is going to fundraise the shit out of it.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to put it on T-shirts. He's going to put it on mugs. He's like, oh, Trump is just not. Here's his mugshot. Like 3 days later, it's gonna be like that freaking SpongeBob thing. Like 3 days later, and there's like Trump raises $10 million in 3 days.
Yeah, this is the Fulton County Sheriff Pat Labatt. His office is preparing the possibility of former President Trump being indicted in Fulton County. He says that if indicted by a grand jury, the former president will be treated like anyone else accused of a crime, including fingerprints and a mugshot. Quote: "Unless somebody tells me differently, we are following our normal procedures." Practices, and so it doesn't matter your status. We'll have a mugshot ready for you. That's what he says to the journalists. We'll have a mugshot ready for you. Giddy at it. This is all. This is a show trial.
Well, and in fact, freaking know this.
Let me show you just how giddy they are, Spoon. They're so giddy that they accidentally released the documents about the indictment before the grand jury had even decided on it. They already knew what they were going to do. They released it.
Does that not mean Trump can file for mistrial?
Who knows? I mean, I don't know enough about the law, but it should, in my opinion. A document outlining the charges against former President Donald Trump that came out hours before his official indictment is being called a fictitious document and a sample.
Oh,
that made it to the internet as a test, according to Georgia court officials. On Monday, hours before a Fulton County grand jury indicted Trump, a document was posted outlining 13 charges against the former president. Trump was later indicted on 11 charges. In a statement issued by the Trump campaign, attorneys Drew Fine and Jennifer Little said the indictment was typical of what Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis is all about. We saw her talk there a moment ago. The Fulton County DA has once again shown that they have no respect for the integrity of the grand jury process. The statement said, according to The Hill, this was not a simple administrative mistake. Yeah.
I wonder if she knows that means vagina over this side of the pond.
I know, probably not. This is emblematic of the pervasive and glaring constitutional violations which have plagued this case from its very inception. The statement is, well, it is. You released it to the public hours before the grand jury made their decision, meaning you were going to do it anyway, right? I mean, I'm sorry, that's what it says to me. That you didn't really give a damn about what the grand jury decided. You didn't give a damn, did you? You were doing it anyway. And they linked the grand jurors' names too in the document because they didn't. Was that intimidation then? Was it like, oh, we leaked the document. You totally wanted to go along with this, right? With your names all on it.
So you think it was for?
What an accident. What just a little whoopsie, little oopsie poopsie. According to the statement issued by the court, attributed to the office of Fulton County Clerk of Superior Magistrate Courts, the document that went flying across media outlets and social media was a sample working document.
That's a freaking dystopian phrase if I've ever heard one.
Sure is. In anticipation of issues that arise with entering a politically large indictment, Alexander used charges that pre-exist in Odyssey to test the system and conduct a trial run, the statement said, referring to the Fulton County Clerk of Superior Magistrate Courts, Shay Alexander. Unfortunately, the sample working document led to the docketing of what appears to be an indictment, but which was, in fact, only a fictitious docket sheet. Why did it already say that he had been indicted then? Just a fictitious document.
Are you trying to will it into existence?
And good on Vivek for calling that shit out, you know, and saying this is ridiculous.
But he realizes that if he sides with Trump, it's going to do great for his numbers.
Of course he does.
So yeah, he's not stupid. He's politically very shrewd. He's making Ron DeSantis look like a fucking retard. And he's also self-funded, I believe.
Yep.
Which explains, which also makes me think he's a bit more genuine. But he also realizes that, look, the smartest thing you should do is align yourself with Trump because that's where all the money is.
Mm-hmm. Because the media has access to documents before they are published, and while it may have appeared that something official had occurred because the document bore a case number and filing date, it did not include a signed true or no bill nor an official stamp with Clerk Alexander's name, thereby making the document unofficial and a test sample only. However, the Hill noted that the sample working indictment included charges that were in the actual indictment. The office understands that the confusion that this matter caused and the sensitivity of all court filings. We remain committed to operating with an extreme level of efficiency, accuracy, and transparency, the statement said.
I heard there was some RICO charges.
Yeah, here it is. So here are the charges, right? Violation of Georgia RICO, solicitation of violation of oath of public officer, conspiracy to commit impersonating a public officer, conspiracy to commit forgery, conspiracy to commit false statements, conspiracy to commit false filing, conspiracy to commit forgery, conspiracy to commit false statements, false documents, violation of oath, false statements in writing, solicitation of violation of oath, and false statements in writings. Note the plethora of conspiracy charges with some RICO tossed in. Real lawyers know that just about nothing is provable, is a provable RICO in front of a fair court. Woke prosecutors are increasingly criminalizing speech in America, and this threatens all of us. Yes, it does.
I love how all of this is coming out now.
Yeah.
And you didn't have years to do this, like really, like it doesn't come off shady at fucking all.
It's been 3 years.
Exactly.
Yeah. And yeah, they're just doing this now. It's not because he did anything actually wrong. It's because the 2024 election is coming up. What?
He just wronged them, and they're pissed off about it.
Yeah, exactly. This is ridiculous. It's incomprehensibly ridiculous. They just accidentally released a sample document. Sure thing. How stupid do you think we are? Exactly.
Very.
And clearly their base eats this shit up.
That's because their base is retarded. Like, literally, I don't mean that as an insult. I legitimately think the Democratic base, there's a substantial of them that are literally retarded. That are like legit low IQ, and I don't mean them. You know, ones I'm referring to.
Yeah. Roger Stone's going to explain. Yeah, he's going to explain quickly here. I thought this was a short video, and it explains why that case in DC can't happen.
I like Roger Stone. He's cool.
I do too. That case in DC cannot happen, and Roger Stone's going to explain why. I think he explained it in a good way, so I thought we'd get him to listen.
Let's talk about the indictments. The third one came down last week. What do you make of that? Even Senator Rubio,
I love suspenders.
Who stayed out of this, has said that this is an attack on his First Amendment rights. What do you take?
I think it's even worse than that. It really is election
Makes a man look classy.
In other words, questioning the outcome of an election because of the enormous number of anomalies and irregularities is a crime for which you must go to prison, unless you're Kamala Harris or Amy Klobuchar or Jerry Nadler or Chuck Schumer or Stacey Abrams.
Yeah, just to reiterate, I know that Roger's explained it here, but that's what he's being indicted for in Georgia this time, is for questioning the results of an election publicly.
Which everyone was doing.
Hillary Clinton? Wait till you see this one. I have a Hillary Clinton clip for you. Wait till you see it. It's going to drive you insane.
Is it the one where she said she hopes the system is working? Is it that one?
No, it might be. I don't know. She might have said that in it, but it's ludicrous.
Raskin or any of the 100 Democrats who objected in the House to the certification of Donald Trump's election in 2016. It's perfectly all right for them to do so, but when Donald Trump does it, it's a crime. This is an absurdity. Does anyone in their right mind think that if Donald Trump was not leading in the polls, both the Republican polls by double digits and leading Joe Biden in the national polls head-to-head nationally and in every swing state, that they would be doing this? This is an attempt to derail his presidential campaign.
What'd you say?
He's ahead by like 8 points.
Yeah.
Against the big issue will be, he has to be gagged. He can't defend himself publicly because it might taint the jury pool. Well, I've been in this jury box. I've been in this courtroom. I've stood in the dock there. The jury pool is already tainted. There will not be a single Republican. There will not be a single Democrat. There will not be a single person on this jury who does not hate Donald Trump.
Yep. In a DC court, what the hell do you think you're going to get?
It's a DC courtroom? No fucking way in hell.
This is for the DC case, yes. That's what Roger's talking about here, is that there is absolutely no way to have this trial in DC. The court will be tainted. It is impossible. He is correct.
The indictment claims that you denied the rights of people who voted for Biden, which it does, then by law, no one who voted for Biden can be in this jury because they would be conflicted. I don't think the prosecutors have thought about that yet.
Of course not. They have thought about it, actually, Roger. I think they have. I think they've thought about it quite a lot. In fact, well, I think they're banking on it. But here's the thing, and why, there's a reason why they're doing all of this. They're doing this because they're terrified. They're terrified of Donald Trump. They know Biden has no chance, not any real one. So they're going to do a lot of fortifying. Because despite all of these, this is their fourth indictment. Here's people reacting to Trump. And I saw some fucking idiot. What's his name? Bill Mitchell here. No, there's tons of fans. This is at his private resort. Does it look like it's tens of people? I mean, it's not as big as his rallies, that's for sure. But this is at his resort. His golf club.
Yeah, Trump National Golf Club.
And it's just a random, I don't even know if this was planned. People just showing it, but people love this man so much. It's ridiculous. Look at their faces.
Yeah,
we ever seen anything like this at a Biden rally? You know?
What, you mean people?
Yeah, well, people, and first of all, but secondly, people who are excited. USA, USA, USA. This is great. People love him. And
James Lindsay's in the front there.
It does look a little bit like James Lindsay. And the polls are showing it, right?
James is MAGA man. Well done.
Here's the most recent polls. This is 538. They pull from several different sources. So the most recent one...
Is that against DeSantis?
This is against DeSantis specifically.
The one you just... The top graph there.
The top graph here.
That's fucking rough.
Yeah. And look at this since February. There was a point where Trump and DeSantis were...
Neck and neck.
February this year, we're neck and neck, but holy shit.
Yeah, he is just cratered. Rudy Giuliani was right on the money, by the way.
DeSantis has no one to blame from that but himself.
Yeah, Rudy Giuliani was the one who just said he was in a room with Patrick Bet-Davis and one of the fellas there on his own crew, and Dave Rubin, who has been like sipping his balls off for DeSantis. Same with fucking Ben Shapiro. And Rudy Giuliani basically just said, "Listen here, boys. I'm 80 years old. I've been through like 6 election cycles. I know way more than you about this shit. The chances are he's just going to fade away because a lot of people get an early bump. Once they enter the race, shit goes south. And
what's happening?
You know, and then he's like, I'm watching him now, and I watched that bit again. I'm like, man, this is aged like fucking wine.
Because of course Giuliani knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, because Rudy Giuliani was running the freaking money. Like, he predicted the decline to like a freaking T. Same with Rahim Kasim on... He was on with Jack Posobiec. And it was funny because he said, like 3 months ago, he said, by the end of summer, he's going to be 10% or less.
Yeah.
That's literally his words. And then right now, he's less than 10 points. And Jack had him on, and they played the clip as well. And went like, look, this is what you said like 3 months ago, right on the money. It's like, how the fuck do you know?
We can just see the numbers directly with DeSantis. And Ramaswamy got up to 13% in one poll. So DeSantis is now neck and neck with Ramaswamy, with Vivek, not with Trump.
And he's going to overtake him because Vivek has nothing to go but up and DeSantis only down.
Exactly. Because Vivek appears to know how to play the political game and DeSantis doesn't.
Yes. It's because DeSantis is boring as shit.
Yeah. Roseanne Barr had something kind of base to say. Which she,
oh my God.
Says the propaganda here.
Have you heard her lately?
I know. She's
oh my God! If you have a Twitter account and you don't follow her, seriously do, because man, she has no filter.
I don't. I will now. The propaganda here from the other side is sad. Just a collection of unhinged emotional outbursts from the Trump derangement syndrome psychopaths who only hate him because the war party pedos told them to. I've been mentally ill my whole life, and these people were batshit crazy in comparison. I mean, where's the lie? Exactly.
No one cares what a racist wench said. Just like, dude, the word racism doesn't mean anything anymore.
What you're seeing right now, I think, is you can hear the joy in Aiden's voice when she's looking at data. Yeah, pretty much. What you're seeing right now, I think, is that people are showing their true colors. They're showing their loyalties and their alliances. Anyone who's not aligning with Trump because he is the only candidate, are
insane.
Something's weird with them. Something's weird with them. So I don't know if I could ever trust DeSantis again after that, after all the stuff he's done. But Ted Cruz, and I had to bring this up because it's embedded in this
really
page.
showed Ted Cruz what a pair of balls looks like.
He did, and then it was like he like forced him to grow a pair. It was awesome, and now Ted is pretty okay.
Great to be with you, John.
Ted is a scary lawyer. Like I would not want to screw with him.
Yeah,
you know what I
said
mean?
on a few occasions he's apparently a very good lawyer.
If you ever see what he does in a courtroom, yeah, he's an okay politician. He's kind of meh, but he's a intimidating lawyer from what I've seen of him. I would not want to go up against him.
Alan Dershowitz once said to me, "You were one of the best students he's ever had in the history of teaching."
What is up with Sean's face?
Put your law hat on.
What is up with Sean's face?
Looks like he's aged like a million years.
I was literally thinking the same thing. How did he age like overnight? He went like fucking Asian shit kicking in.
Yeah, weird.
Tell us legally what you see here.
Has he been replaced by a double?
Legally, I see every single day the evidence is growing and growing and growing.
Damn, Sean looks fucking...
We're also seeing, you just played a minute ago, Jake Tapper and Elizabeth Warren, neither the corporate media nor any congressional Democrat cares at all whether the President of the United States received millions of dollars of bribes from foreign nationals. Even that little exchange there where Jake Tapper asked, well, gosh, you know, it was sort of influence peddling, and isn't that bothersome? No, those are not the allegations, Jake. You're a journalist, or you're supposed to be. The allegations are bribery, that it wasn't just Hunter selling access, it was Hunter selling official favors from his father, Joe Biden.
So this is getting into, as we pointed out, that every single time Hunter Biden gets in trouble for someone else, or something new comes out about Hunter Biden, there's a new Trump indictment. That's what Cruz is talking about here. And he goes pretty hard, which is why I want to show it to you.
Let's go to what that FD 1023 specifically says, the FBI form. A confidential human source that had been reliable previously to the FBI came forward and said that the oligarch who owns Burisma paid $5 million to Hunter Biden.
Which has been confirmed.
$5 million to Joe Biden in
exchange
for Joe Biden's help getting rid of the prosecutor
Victor
that
Shokin
was investigating Burisma and investigating that oligarch. Now, what is bribery? The essence of bribery is a quid pro quo. We remember from the first Trump impeachment, the media, Jake knows what a quid pro quo is. He talked about it incessantly when it concerned Donald Trump. Quid pro quo is Latin for this, for that. Bribery is paying someone something of value in an exchange for an official favor. Now, the quo we know happened because, as you know,
it happened 100%. That we know it 100%. The $5 million to fire Victor Shokin 100% happened. The money, well, son of a bitch.
To it in a video interview where he said he went to Ukraine, he held hostage $1 billion in U.S. loan guarantees and demanded of the Ukrainian government fire the prosecutor that is investigating Burisma and investigating the oligarch. We know the quo happened. The only question was, did the quid happen? Did they pay $10 million for him to do so? If so, Joe Biden is guilty of bribery. Hunter is guilty of selling official favors from his father. And if
he was vice president of the United States at the time,
impeached, he should be removed from office. He should be prosecuted, and he should go.
Dude,
to
look how fucked up Hunter is. Holy shit! How does he look older than his father?
Balls.
He looks older than his own dad.
I won't say that, but he does look.
A cell with Hunter for corrupting the government of the United States.
Senator, I agree with Kevin Brock. This now justifies a full investigation into money laundering and bribery. It does. But I sadly say this, and I mean sadly, I do not believe in this moment of history that we currently have equal justice and equal application of our laws.
I wish.
What do you mean you never
Department
did?
of Justice ever doing their job. They are obsessed with one man, 24/7, 365, year in, year out, and that's Donald Trump. And they will not. They are steadfastly refusing to do the proper investigation into what I believe could be the biggest bribery corruption scandal in the history of this country.
I think it's certainly up there. From where it comes from, yeah.
There's never been an allegation in the history of our country like this, that a president of the United States or a vice president, in Joe Biden's case, when these allegations occurred, sold official favors for millions of dollars. The House Oversight Committee, James Comer, just released, they have bank records now that show more than $20 million went to Joe Biden's family. These are payments to his brother, payments to his son, payments to the widow of his other son, payments to his grandkids, payments to his baby mamas. Damn near Fluffy the dog got paid by Ukrainians and Russians and Kazakhs and Chinese communists, and they're paid through shell corporations. Now, what's a shell corporation? A shell corporation is a legal fiction. It's not a real company. It's not like you start.
Ted's so good at explaining this to like a normal audience. I do like that too about him.
That has employees, that actually does something. No, a shell corporation exists on paper, and its main purpose is to launder money, to hide the money that's coming in. I have to tell you, I do not know any individual in government, Republican or Democrat, who has ever done anything remotely like what is alleged here, which has had a business of selling official favors for tens of millions of dollars. And by the way, they're not getting money. Hunter wasn't getting money from the French or the British or the Canadians or friends of America.
No, specifically the Ukrainians.
They were seeking out Chinese communists
and the Chinese
oligarchs who were willing to do things. Sean, look, you live a good life. Have you ever had a corrupt foreign oligarch transfer you, wire you over $100,000, the exact price for a brand new fancy sports car?
Senator, if that's a real question, unfortunately, it just never happened to me. I'm wondering why, but I prefer, rather than the Porsche, I want the Corvette Z06. I like to buy American.
Good choice.
Senator, I got to tell you, you still have it. You're on your A game.
I'd rather take the Porsche, to be honest.
Well, you know,
because I favor the fascists.
Well, I don't remember who said it in the chat. I just saw it earlier while we were playing the video. Is that someone asked if I thought that Cruz would make a good member of SCOTUS, and I think yes. I think that's where he's headed. He's headed that. I think that's undeniable. It's a long time from now, but Cruz is headed for that's where that cruise missile is going to end up. Is at SCOTUS if the country doesn't fall apart by then. So I liked that from Ted.
I think he would be a good Supreme Court justice. Do you know? You know who else I think would be a good Supreme Court justice? He's maybe a bit old, but Kennedy.
Yeah, RFK.
No, not RFK. Ellie Kennedy.
As I said, I don't know if RFK had a legal degree.
John Kennedy.
Okay, yeah.
From
Perhaps.
Louisiana.
I don't know. I also don't know if he has a legal degree either. Most of these people do.
He does.
Okay.
Because I know whenever there's something called the Kennedy treatment for the people who get reviewed. They get into law positions in the government, or that require law. So he's known for really shooting the Constitution from the hip.
Yeah, Dragon Lord Peter. I'm well aware of Dr. Dutton. I like his streams. He's very funny and also very, very educated, very intelligent and erudite. So I do appreciate Dr. Dutton's work on YouTube. The Jolly Heretic. So this is regarding now we're moving from the Trump legal stuff into the Biden legal stuff. Huh?
She got fired, hasn't she?
Well, she was there as of yesterday. Or a couple days ago. If she got fired, it's been the last couple days.
Yeah, I think she's been fired.
Oh, not this one. Other one. Not this lawyer. No,
the one on the left.
Did she get fired?
Yeah,
I don't even know who she is.
CNN, I think. Yeah, Caitlin Collins. Yeah, I think she got fired. That woman's jaw is fucking as strong as mine.
Yeah, I've noticed that before about her. I didn't know she got fired, though. So listen to this absolute insanity,
I could be wrong.
Though. This shit is crazy. Hang on, I gotta put there's a time code on this. So the whole thing is nuts. But I gotta get to the right time code or right about there. Let's see. Come on. This is the only thing I don't like about Twitter video. Oh my gosh. Well, hopefully it'll.
I have that song somewhere in my background. And
is this not gonna work? Really? Really, Elon?
Refresh it and see what it does.
Yeah, let me try refreshing it and then.
Poor Elon's on the blame for this.
I know. Oh, not really.
Something else happened.
Okay.
Then that if something
Let's
was
just play it
found
from
that
here.
he did wrong, he would accept responsibility for that.
Yeah, sure.
And that's what he was going to do and was willing to do.
Get the
fuck They're talking about Hunter Biden.
He's not willing to do and will never do.
And this is one of Hunter Biden's attorneys, and he's got like 50 of them because obviously
accept responsibility.
He
or
goes
say
through them like he does
did
rails.
not.
Yeah.
So
we'll get to
as
that.
The charges were filed before. That fits into his idea of accepting responsibility. Should anything change?
Okay, so here's what's happening: is that that's what this is about. Is that so the sweetheart deal that Hunter Biden got, that basically just let him get away with everything with a warning. They just dropped the gun charge, the illegally possessed gun charge, and it was. I'll get into that a little bit more, but that's now being sought a venue change for that whole thing to retry it, which I don't think will count as double jeopardy. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not really sure. But obviously, Hunter Biden got away with an enormous felony, and here's the thing also, Spoon, as I'm going to tell you in a minute, they're changing the national laws so that you can own a gun while being a drug felon, which I'm all on board with 2A stuff, but they are changing the laws not because they give a damn about Second Amendment, but because to protect Hunter Biden so that he can legally somehow retroactively be like, oh, well, the new law says it's okay for you to have a gun while you're a felon on drug charges. They're changing national law for this dope.
You know how many black people are going to get pissed off by that?
I don't know if anyone will notice. Just I noticed.
But he and
people
we
were
will
noticing.
Defend him. We will bring to the attention of the court anything that's appropriate. But I'm not, and we're not there yet. Where we are is
Abby,
making sure
I understand what you're saying, but is anyone asking? No one's asking Hunter Biden to accept responsibility for something he didn't do. I mean, these are things that he has admitted that he did.
Yes, but you just said, we concerned or upset or worried that there'll be additional things or that there's more staff? The answer to that is he has made very clear the mistake he made, and that's all he has made.
Yeah, the mistake he made for which he has not received any punishment. Yeah, very sorry for that, I'm sure.
Mistake about. And so am I concerned?
You want to talk about the mistake, by the way? Throwing away an illegally owned gun behind a middle school? In a dumpster? Around children? You want to talk about the exact mistake it was? No? How about hiring potentially underage prostitutes in Ukraine? Don't want to talk about that one either. That was not even being charged. It's just the gun crime.
You know, just love how when these people are in this position where they need to sort of, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Fill airspace, essentially, and they just sound dopey as fuck. Because everybody knows you're lying. You know you're lying. The woman on the freaking screen knows you're lying. Everyone watching this knows you're lying. Like, what the hell is the point of this? You just look like a twat.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
Force other than facts or law would influence any additional decision. And if this prosecutor with a new title now continues in doing what he's supposed to do, which is to follow the evidence and follow the law, the conclusion should be the same.
When you say force, who are you referencing?
Well, what I'm referencing is, and this is not a surprise or a secret, right? From the moment this arrangement and agreement...
This is where it gets fucking crazy. Like, this is unbelievable, the stuff he's about to say here. Okay?
Has been announced and filed. You have every MAGA, right-wing, fanatical person yelling and screaming and saying it's not right and it's not fair and it's not just. You have the former president trying to use Hunter Biden as a way to excuse his own conduct. And
what the fuck are you talking about?
That this is all a witch hunt. It's all a witch hunt, which is not what they're doing to Donald Trump, of course, not at all. They're not doing a witch hunt against him, but they're doing it's these fanatical idiot Republicans who are doing a witch hunt against Hunter Biden. But this, holy crap, dude.
The noise could actually be so noisy that it get in the way of the facts and the law.
If it's not, then something other than the facts and the law has to come into play, if you missed that part. Something other than facts and law. What does that mean?
Gators.
I think that means that he's above the law, doesn't it? Hunter Biden's above the law. So we don't need facts. We need something above the law.
He is high
something
above the
above
law.
Facts, clearly. Well, another one of his lawyers has just dipped. Lead criminal defense attorney Christopher Clark filed a motion to withdraw from the case in the wake of his failed plea deal, citing he could now be called as a witness in future proceedings. So he just recused himself. Bye. Funny.
I was politely told that if I stay along, I might have some repercussions.
Yeah, so bye. Hunter Biden, special counsel, waste no time, declares impasse in plea deal talks, moves to change the venue. This is what is happening right now. Head of the Department of Justice announced that there was going to be a special counsel in the Hunter Biden investigation. Yes. Moreover, the special counsel would be an individual previously appointed by former President Donald Trump. Yes. According to the AP, Garland told the media the special counsel should work in an even-handed and urgent manner. Yes. And then conservatives noted the special counsel, David Weiss, was the same U.S. prosecutor who had been investigating Hunter Biden's case for years and had never gotten to the point of an indictment. No. And he was also the one who was behind the sweetheart plea deal that was struck down by a federal judge. And in case you needed too long to figure out what the new special counsel is going to be doing, one of his first acts was to move to dismiss Hunter Biden's tax charges to file in a new venue, away from the judge who struck down that agreement. They're trying to move this to get rid of the tax issues that he was caught on. So that now they're going to get even the tax issues they're trying to strike out. They already got rid of the gun charge. Now they're trying to get rid of the tax issues. This is nepotism. This is corruption on a level that is, I'm sorry, unprecedented.
And very, very open.
They can't even catch him on a tax issue.
Yeah.
So they're going to try to move the venue to re-litigate the case to make sure that Hunter doesn't even get caught on the tax case. Already gotten rid of the gun charge. Illegally owned gun. It gets weirder. Like I said, federal appeals court strikes down law prohibiting users of illegal drugs from possessing firearms. Now, I'm all in favor of possessing firearms, but really weird kind of timing here, isn't it? Weird timing. This happens. This has only happened, in my opinion, to protect Hunter Biden, which is insane. Unbelievable that in order to make it so that people who have a prior illegal drug
possession
charge can own firearms is now only being overturned. And by the way, I think they should be able to. I think if you've cleaned yourself up, then you should be able to own a firearm. You should be allowed. I think that's a violation of your Second Amendment rights. But the only reason this is now getting to the place that it is in the middle of a giant scandal involving Joe Biden's son, who's a crackhead and threw away a gun that he owned illegally behind a school. It sickens me, Spoon. It really does. The only time that God. It's all about the oligarchy. It's all about the elites. They hate you. And they don't give a damn about what happens to you. The only time that they will change any laws in your favor is if it benefits them. That's what this is about. And it's grotesque.
You say this like it's new.
I know. Let's, yep, let's watch the Nuland thing. I have that next in the list.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't mind bringing up, I'm going to stop sharing my screen because we're going to watch it on Watch Together.
There we go. For those of you guys who don't know, Victoria Nuland is the acting secretary. I think she's now the acting secretary of state.
Victoria Nuland was deeply involved, though. You can watch my video on Ukraine. I know people don't like it.
Said, fuck the EU,
people who don't.
Nicole.
She said, fuck the EU, which should be fair-based. But this woman was deeply involved in my opinion, in the 2014 coup in Ukraine.
Oh, that's just fact. It's not even.
Yeah, I mean, there's a phone call that was recorded of her talking about how the United States wanted in charge of Ukraine. Look, I don't want to belabor this or get back or relitigate this more accurately, but Sitch heavily disagrees. I think he's even said now that I was just listening to them talk about it the other night, and he basically just said that the phone call was fake, or that it was a hoax or it's BS. Which is like, how? I don't know how it's fake or it's BS. Previously, his arguments that I heard was just like, oh, she's just saying that this is who we want in power, not who we're going to put in power. But if you've heard the Nuland phone call...
What's the distinction?
When you're talking about the United States government.
Yes, I know, but...
and we're talking about the same country. We're talking about the same country with the same people involved who said, fire the prosecutor investigating Joe Biden while son of a bitch $5 million. And so for whatever reason, though, the phone call is fake of her saying, here, I don't want Yatsenyuk. Or no, she wanted Yatsenyuk, right?
Yeah.
She didn't want Klitschko or who was the other guy? Can't recall. It's been a little bit. She didn't want
the guy of the far right party.
Klitschko. No. Klitschko was the former boxer.
Yeah, he was the boxer.
Oh, it's right there in my brain. Come on, boot up, you shitty old Dell computer. You can find it there. It's. Oh no, I can't. It was it's
this SV or something.
Yuck, Klitschko and the far right guy. Who was the third one? Who was the third guy? Fuck, man, it's been too long. I could pull up my Ukraine. Hang on. 1 second. I'll be able to find it here in a second. Because, trust me, Google doesn't want you to know these things. But I can find it here if I just type in Ukraine document. Ukraine. And if I go to my timeline, I should be able to find it from my script. Either one. Or Ukraine timeline. Yeah. If I remember it before. Yatsenyuk. Nuland. Oh, Ole T. Hannibuk. There you go.
That's the one. I can see.
Got it. Yeah, I can see it in my head too. Ole T. Hannibuk. Anywho, so here's an interesting video.
Fascist, dude.
I have not watched this actually. You've said it's an interesting video about Victoria Nuland. So we'll learn a little bit more about her, I guess. So let's find out. I'll see how I feel about the time, the speed.
Beware. For where she goes, death and destruction are sure to follow. If you see her come to your
It seems very likely, in my opinion, that she was deeply involved with the 2014 Euromaidan.
Yeah, she was.
The White Death. The Yellow Plague.
She's very clearly of the Clintonian protege type.
Yeah.
She is a Kagan.
70 dead and counting.
So we have to maintain UN principles of international law. And, fuck the EU. That protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of every single country.
Except your own.
Yeah,
Notably,
of course.
Including Ukraine. And U.S. advisors serve in almost a dozen Ukrainian ministries and localities.
How does Jabba the Hutt over here get to decide what happens in Ukraine? Who exactly is this person?
Good question.
In this first video of many, we begin a series called Unmasking the Deep State, starting with our favorite Undersecretary of State, Victoria Nuland. You can find sections of the video highlighted for you at the bottom should you like to skip to certain parts. But for now, let's begin from the beginning, her childhood. Chapter 1. Young Victoria Nuland.
Well, I don't really care about this.
No,
you think it matters?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely
You're the one who's
watch
seen it,
this.
not me.
Yes.
Okay.
Victoria was born on July 1st, 1961 in New York City. Her mother, a gifted pianist. Her father, Sherwin Nuland, descendant of Eastern European Jewish immigrants.
What's this channel? Declaring Independence, just so you guys know, if you want to go watch his content.
Was a revered surgeon who taught bioethics, medicine, and the history of medicine at Yale. Now, this is how he recounts meeting his first wife.
When I took one look at her, and I just decided that's the person I'm going to marry. And I convinced her in 6 weeks to marry me, and so we were engaged for another 6 weeks, then we got married.
It was love at first sight. He had just become chief resident at Yale at 29 years old, but things would then take a turn for the worst.
What I didn't know at that time was that she was bipolar. I didn't know that either.
Oof.
And for the next...
Hey, I thought I had bipolar disorder for a while. It's, I don't. I thought I did, but it was just stress. Anywho, it's rough though. Don't be really careful with that diagnosis though. People who have bipolar though.
The entire chat here's one when it goes, oh look, small hat.
Next years, she would become depressed for 6 months, and when April came, she'd suddenly, within days, become manic.
Yeah,
And,
that's bipolar though.
We had some really bad times, but we did have 2 perfectly wonderful children.
Sherwin Nuland would describe his marriage to Victoria's mother in a TED Talk given in 2001, saying,
In the 1960s, in a marriage, to use the word bad would be perhaps the understatement of the year. It was dreadful. As things got worse, as we really began to hate each other, I became progressively...
No, I don't have bipolar. I thought I did. I was diagnosed with it, but it was because I was like super stressed out in graduate school. And I had, it was a manic episode just from stress. You know, I just have autism, man. Or Asperger's.
It was supposed to read 300 papers a day.
No, I liked that part.
At WHIP. I
liked that part. It wasn't at WHIP. That part was fun. It was the social stuff that drove me nuts. Like having to go to the events and like be social with people. I didn't like it. She's like, can I just please do work? I just want to be able to sit in a corner and do my work. That was what it was. So yeah, it was a misdiagnosis, and that's why like and lithium.
Calculate pi.
Yeah, and lithium, which is what they put me on, made everything a million times worse because I didn't have BPD. And also lithium is a hell of a drug. Holy shit. But yeah, they put me on lithium and that made everything worse. It made my depression a million times worse, which I don't really think I have a lot of depression. I just have Asperger's. So, and I don't know, as a woman, it was really difficult to get diagnosed with that or to figure out what was actually wrong with me. But, it is what it is. I can understand why it was a misdiagnosis. Particularly because they were looking at things from a weird point in my life, like that wasn't normative. It wasn't my normal schedule. It wasn't how things are supposed to be. So it can get, it was a misdiagnosis.
Apparently,
which is very common,
what the word
actually.
Fun means.
I can tell you what fun is. Fun is doing a hierarchical, log linear hierarchical regression. That's very fun. It's my favorite. I told Spoon this as I put a joke. I don't know if you can actually classify it as a joke, but I have a whiteboard in the background of my new video, and I have a joke on the whiteboard the whole time, which is that I have a Bonferroni calculation in the background on the whiteboard the entire time, and the Bonferroni calculation allows you, or more specifically, the Bonferroni correction allows you to make sure that you haven't done a type 1 error in your research, and the whole study that I'm making fun of is a type 1 error. So to me, it's like, ha ha ha, owned. To get the Bonferroni correction up there on the board, and that is such a nerdy statistics reference. Nobody will get it, but anybody who does, good job. Anyway. Back into this.
You do realize no one will understand what you just said.
Somebody, one person, hopefully they will if they see it. They all know that that's the Bonferroni correction and be like, oh, snap, fuck, we got owned. We made a type 1 error.
This is my best friend.
Love you too.
Depressed over a period of a couple of years, trying to save this marriage, which was inevitably not to be saved.
As her father admits, this was severely deteriorating his mental health. The constant fights, resentment, and hate between the two was weighing too much on Sherwin. All the while, he's still having to prepare for surgeries that can take up to 12 to 18 hours to complete. He goes on to elaborate this more.
Oh, my major surgical cases, I was scheduling them for 1 o'clock in the afternoon because I couldn't get out of bed before about 11 o'clock. Anybody who's been depressed here knows what that's like. I couldn't even pull the covers off myself.
All of this would finally culminate when Sherwin had to be checked into a mental ward at his university, and he would stay there for 13 months. It would be an understatement to say Victoria Nuland had a difficult childhood. A bipolar mother, a depressed father, fighting every day, hatred, resentment. But there's more. Victoria Nuland attended the prestigious boarding school known as Choate Rosemary Hall. She was a graduate of the school in 1979. This institution is famous for its remarkable list of alumni, which includes governors, State Department officials, actors, poets, and so on. Perhaps its most illustrious alumnus is President John F. Kennedy, who was a student there in the 1930s alongside his older brother. Notable figures such as Eleanor Roosevelt were frequent guest speakers at the school. Essentially,
Kennedy family, yeah.
Choate Rosemary Hall was the place to receive a top-tier education. The school is also notorious, as it's recently been uncovered that the school had substantiated cases of sexual misconduct. Some of it goes back to the early 1960s.
What? Is this relevant?
The early 2000s.
Yep.
And the New York Times coverage of the scandal
no.
reported that the school had prevented allegations of sexual conduct from getting out for decades. According to the report, sexual misconduct matters were handled internally and quietly. Even if a teacher had been terminated for sexual misconduct with another student, the rest of the faculty were told very little, and sometimes nothing, about what had happened. As recently as 2010, a faculty member named Charles Timlin had kissed a student, made inappropriate comments to her, but the headmaster of the school decided that this behavior had not warranted Charles's termination.
What?
It was only until the abused student's father had contacted the school, after which they eventually dismissed Mr. Timlin for his behavior. There is no direct evidence that Victoria herself ever experienced any kind of abuse.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this seems
However,
unrelated.
in the investigative report published by an independent group looking into all the accusations, they would find at least 12 staff and teachers who worked in the school from 1969 to as late as 2016.
I'm failing to see the relevance.
5 of the 12 staff were working in the school between 1975 to 1979, the same years Victoria was in attendance. Now, we can't make any direct connections between her and sexual abuse, and it would be wrong to do so.
Yeah.
But if it is the case that this was just a fact of life in the school's culture, everyone kind of knew this was going on, what kind of psychological damage would that do to someone in their teens?
I don't know. This is stretching,
As
man.
former student Cheyenne Montgomery, who graduated in 1992 and was abused by 2 teachers there, said these things were really embedded in the culture, and not just at Chuck. There is something that I neglected to mention, something that I skipped over in the beginning of this video. See, when I said Sherwin Nuland was born to immigrant parents who came from Eastern Europe, well, in Sherwin Nuland's book, Lost in America, he talks about his father being from an area called Bessarabia. His father left Bessarabia in 1907. What is Bessarabia? Bessarabia is now modern-day Ukraine/Moldova. This means that Victoria Nuland has Ukrainian lineage in her. What does this mean exactly? Does this explain some of her motivations? All this and more.
You know why I said to watch this bit?
I don't know if this matters either, though. But just the fact
Really?
that she's from that her family's from Bessarabia.
I guarantee she holds a grudge.
In the next chapter.
Maybe. That's
Chapter 2.
Stretching.
A State Department agent is born. Victoria Nuland would go on to graduate from Brown University in 1983.
I don't know if
a Bachelor of
means
Arts
anything.
degree. She studied Russian literature, political science, and history. 1 year later, she would join the U.S. State Department as a Foreign Service officer, a job which seemed to suit Nuland's own ambitions. Nuland's new job would be to promote peace, support prosperity, and protect American citizens while, quote, advancing the interest of the U.S. abroad.
You know, like how vague that is. Advancing U.S. interests abroad, like by doing what exactly?
Yeah, Bessarabia is right for Romanian clay.
Democracy.
Yeah, I said that in my video, by the way. Oh, you're right. Yeah, spreading democracy. What is it? What is spreading democracy, Spoon? It's American political hegemony.
Yes, it means overthrowing the regime and installing puppets who are in favor of the American State Department.
Yarp.
Hey, Germany, how do you feel about that? See, this is why they want to get rid of the AfD, because the AfD would not be in favor of this. And this is why I wish to see the return of the Kaiser, so we can kick those fucking Yankee jackasses off their territory.
I sure would like the Kaiser to come back.
Imperial Germany, and we can make Germany
Let's
great
go!
again.
Let's go! Let's go! Return of Imperial Germany!
Yes, I will happily say
I'm down.
This. Yes, I am in favor of the return of the Kaiser. I am in favor
of an
anti-democratic German state.
A lot of people in the chat are mentioning the phrase "our democracy," which of course we make fun of all the time.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a fucking meme at this fucking point.
The Maid Fest. Here's the thing, though, is what I want to bring that up for is because Lotus Eaters put out a really good video today where they went on at length about the phrase "our democracy" and what it means, because we've talked about it how many times, Spoon. So it's nice to hear those lads talk about it too. Is that our democracy means it's our club, it's our oligarchy, and you're not a part of it. You're not allowed to be a part of it, and if you do anything to try and
I can still
anyway counter it, you're donezo. You're kicked out of the club. You're kicked out of society.
I can still remember when I said, like, I sent the 1 or 2 articles to you where because it just came out of nowhere. The phrase, it's like I said to you, like, do you see this in the news everywhere lately? Our democracy. I see this phrase constantly.
Oh, everywhere for years.
Yes. But when it did happen, it was a bit recent where it came like really prevalent.
Yeah,
like
it's everywhere.
excessively, to the news. I'm like, this is like a freaking slogan. And then I started seeing it, someone making fun of it.
I forgot I wasn't sharing my screen so you couldn't hear my soundboard. But I played the 40 different news stations saying this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Yeah, it's fucking creepy as shit at this
point. Well, I mean, like they do get a unified press release, but still, yeah, it's crazy. And the phrase, actually, our democracy is it just means
the oligarchy.
The oligarchy, the hegemony, and if you don't fall in line with it, then you're out.
Yeah,
you're done.
It
doesn't matter what they do. Doesn't matter how totalitarian. Doesn't matter how authoritarian it is. As long as it's part of the in-group oligarchy and their desires, then it's our democracy.
Yeah,
and that it is an absolute magic word in that sense to get people to go like, oh, well, of course I believe in democracy, because they see things in a dichotomistic term or dichotomistic lens, that it's either democracy or it's authoritarian. And there's nothing else that exists. It is either democracy, which is good, or not democracy, which is fascism or communism, and those are bad. And there's nothing else. There's no monarchy, of course. The monarchy, if they do ever have a thought about it, is, well, that's just another authoritarian system, isn't it? Yeah. Anywho, back to this.
Ambiguous what advancing the interest of the U.S. abroad exactly means. Yeah. Even on the State Department's own website, they admit that they're looking for people who can, quote, retain their composure in times of great stress, like a military coup. Very specific, huh? None of this should be surprising, though. Given everything we know about her childhood, high school education, and college, we can infer she was recruited by the State Department. How can we infer this? Well, colleges, especially Ivy Leagues like Brown and Middlebury College, are where a lot of State Department officials are recruited from. If you look at the list of alumni from these kinds of colleges, you'll find a lot of people on those lists that are responsible for the corrupt nature of our government today. But just what kind of people do these governments
Janet Yellen.
These colleges? Yep. Thanks to John Perkins, former economic hitman, who wrote a tell-all book on his role in making smaller countries almost completely dependent on America. We know that the State Department...
Oh, yeah, I read part of his book for my Ukraine video.
In his book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, he recounts being interviewed by an NSA...
What I read of it was, I saw a source from another thing that I was reading, and I had to go check it, because, here's the thing, Spoon, and he said, when I see someone cite a source, I go and I check the source.
Oh, you actually do that?
I know, weird, right? That's like kind of what you're supposed to do if your job is to report on things or whatever. Whoops.
He says, under examination, I admitted that as a loyal American, I opposed the war, and I was surprised when the interviewers did not pursue this subject. Instead, they focused on my upbringing, my attitude towards my parents, the emotions generated by the fact I had grew up as a poor Puritan among so many wealthy, hedonistic preppies. They also explored my frustration about the lack of women, sex, and money in my life. At first, I assumed all these things that seemed so negative to me marked me as an NSA reject. But the interviews continued, suggesting otherwise.
Oh, yeah, you're like, hey, I'm fucked up. I don't have any connections with people. Oh, no, you're perfect for the NSA.
All those things.
Yep.
These negatives are actually positive. Their assessment had less to do with issues of loyalty to my country than with the frustrations of my life, my ultimate rebellion against my father, my ability to get along with foreigners, and my willingness to lie to the police were exactly the types of attributes they sought. With that in mind, and given what we know about Nuland's terrible childhood, Nuland seems like a juicy target for the State Department.
Why'd you pause it there? That's kind of not nice.
Because that is
as we
her
continue
face.
on studying Victoria Nuland's past and where she came from, it's important that we look at her husband, Robert Kagan, arguably more important for the influence of foreign policy in the U.S. State Department that would shape it for the next 20 to 30 years. Victoria would meet her husband early on in her career in 1983. At this time, Robert was a speechwriter for George Shultz. Before that, he was the editor-in-chief for the student-led Yale Political Monthly. Kagan finished Yale with a BA in history in 1980, and only 4 years later became a member of the U.S. State Department policy planning staff. Later on, he would serve in the State Department Bureau of Inter-American Affairs from 1986 to 1988. Around this time...
I can't get over the fact that he's so fat I can't see his neck.
I'm
sorry, it's
common.
Just like a blob on a fucking... It was like Photoshop and warped.
I don't know how like really fat people are. Like he's not like super ultra morbidly obese, but people who have like that big fat neck, how do they wear suits? How do they wear button-up shirts?
Also, does that not choke in your fucking...
That's what I always wonder. Yeah, like doesn't that hurt?
Yeah.
Like it has a tie on like that? I don't know.
Or is it because your fat is hanging so low it's actually hanging over it and it's not pinching
I don't know.
anything?
Like I'm not someone to ask with this. I forgot to eat for like a week, but
and then
I ate today.
And Aiden wakes up and
goes,
oh,
why am I
weak.
sick?
I'm like,
I feel weak and sickly. Yeah, I know. I get it. Okay. I ate today. I ate a wrap. It's
you
fine.
should eat every day, you fucking weirdo.
I'm gonna eat later.
Boomerang to your head.
Nuland would be working on the China desk at the State Department. From 1991 to 1993, Victoria Nuland and her husband would share an apartment together in Moscow. Nuland was serving as a political officer at the U.S. Embassy in Russia. Describing her experience as a journalist, Nuland would recount how her husband used the spare bedroom of their apartment to write. She said, the KGB used to rifle his office regularly. We could tell by the lingering stench of cigarettes and body odor. They couldn't fathom that he was really just a writer.
But was he?
That's because he wasn't.
He wasn't just a writer, yeah. Okay, so what nonsense is this?
Yeah.
As Kagan's...
Yeah, so the KGB actually had a point.
Yeah, the KGB was right.
History shows, in fact, he wasn't just a writer, but someone who would formulate U.S. foreign policy in the years following the collapse of the Soviet Union. In 1997, Robert Kagan would go on to create a neoconservative think tank called PNAC. the Project for a New American Century. The organization's founding document stated that American leadership is good both for America and for the world, and sought to build support for a Reaganite policy of military strength and moral clarity. Kagan believed that the American mission would be to ensure its role as the sole superpower in the post-Soviet world, which would have sufficient military might to deter any group of nations that might challenge the new American empire. Through his work in the newly created PNAC, Kagan would be a strong advocate of liberal interventionism in Syria, Iran.
Let's be clear about what that is. That's liberal hegemony, interventionism.
Yeah.
I really don't like that terminology. I mean, fine difference of opinion.
Yes, but this is something that I've said in like 3 videos now. Americans need to understand. Your current political class are not the ideological descendants of the founding fathers. They are 21st century politicians who are clinging to power that is the global hegemony that is trying to dominate the entire fucking world. Anything it tries to do from America, because it is an island, much like Britain, it is just sitting there and it can fuck with anyone.
Oh, it's a really big island.
Yes, exactly. But it's surrounded by water. It doesn't have anyone that can invade it. So it's free to just sit around and act like fucking assholes.
They can, in terms of this religious aspect of democracy that we've talked about earlier, and it's like our democracy.
This is the Tulu oligarchy.
And what do they do? What do they do with that ideology, that religious fervor? Is they go send young men to die just like in a crusade. It'd be Vietnam or Iraq or Afghanistan every time. If you have to go fight and die for our democracy, same shit every single time.
Yes. It doesn't exist to protect freedom. Like, that's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
It's
Afghanistan, and especially Iraq, where Kagan stated the need to remove Saddam Hussein and his regime from power. He called on then President Clinton to put ground troops in Iraq, stating that bombing Iraq wasn't enough.
Of course not. You gotta invade. Ooh. Loud, my boy.
That was the day of the invasion, wasn't it?
Nothing wrong with
Welcome back. Top 10 reasons why Bertrand Russell
was actually one of the best peacemakers in all of history. Starting with number 1, he made the peace symbol popular. That's right. He was one of the original designers of the peace symbol against atomic war.
People actually believe this shit? Chapter 3, the Nuland mindset. If her crazy childhood wasn't enough to convince you this woman is crazy, or the fact that she married a really fat Kevin James who's even more bloodthirsty than she is, let me try and convince you further. Everything Victoria Nuland is doing now is very much in tandem with what her husband believes. And we will explore that a little more, but we need to look at something here that is very important when judging current events, and that's understanding the ideas that shape current politics today, and it might surprise you. We talk about modern day warmongers today like Anthony Blinken, Victoria Nuland, Robert Kagan, so on and so forth, but their policy is not original. They weren't born bloodthirsty warmongers. In fact, I can originate it back to Bertrand Russell. See, Bertrand Russell, the supposed peacenik who invented the
I wasn't expecting this.
was actually a big advocate for what Victoria Nuland might agree with, which is this might makes right kind of policy. Here's what he said in regards to nuclear bombs. He said, it is entirely clear that there is only one way.
I've read a ton of Bertrand Russell's books, or several of them, and I've always been very like, what?
You guys should really read what early, say, lefties. Yeah, he does have my sense of humor. What early lefties thought of society, because where do you think that whole eugenics thing came from? Because if you're trying to make the perfect society, what are you going to try to perfect? Human beings.
I don't remember which book it was of Bertrand Russell's, but I was getting my passport. And I had to go to DC because there were like some weird stuff where I had like I could have done it through the mail, but it would have taken like 3 months. And I was coming over here to the UK. And so I wanted to have it done immediately. And I was in Baltimore at the time. So I was like, I'll just go up to DC. Oh, and I get my passport in a day? Excellent. So I went up to DC, and while I was waiting around for them to finish processing my passport stuff, I went to this little tiny bookstore and got a coffee, and I bought a Bertrand Russell book. And I read the whole thing. It was just like 150 pages or something. And I read the whole thing, and I was like, this guy's kind of nuts. I mean, it's fascinating, but I think he's a little bit crazy. That was, it was just 4 years ago now, and I hadn't really read I'd read some of his stuff before, but I was like, whoa, wow, I'm not sure about this. Like, he gets quoted all the time, but not so sure. I was interested.
Wars can be permanently prevented, and that is the establishment of an international government with a monopoly of serious armed forces. An international government, if it is to be able to preserve peace, must have the only atomic bombs, the only plant for producing them, the only air force, the only battleships, and generally whatever is necessary to make it irresistible.
Well, there
and
it
we
is.
believe the United States
Yes, because if we give one person or group that amount of power on a global scale, they will definitely use it for peace and not for anything else.
And it's totally not how you end up with a a global death scenario or anything. But okay.
If this is the
this is the democracy side of things, right?
I think if this is the kind of perception you have of humanity, I don't think anyone should ever listen to you. That's just a fundamental misunderstanding or misunderstanding
he had some
of human
weird
psychology.
things to say. I mean, it's been years and years since I read that book, and again, I read it in a coffee shop while waiting for my passport to get processed. So I don't have like active. I did do what I always do, which is that I got a highlighter and a pen and like scribbled a shit ton of notes in it, but I don't know where it is.
Well done.
Anyhow.
You should have preemptively.
Now, welcome to going to grad school, dude. Like, you don't not do that. Oh, don't. I know people get upset about like destroying books, but don't look at any of my books because they're full of highlighter marks and notes.
I would be upset with you.
Stage.
That they're my books.
I don't care if it's your books. You're still desecrating it.
But it's for me to know later when I go revisit them.
Book desecration.
Okay.
Should have preemptively bombed the Soviet Union before they were able to develop their own nuclear bomb. This kind of thinking has shaped British and American foreign policy for the last 80 years and continues to do so. And in the course of those 80 years, anyone who has presented an alternative or an objection to this policy has been assassinated, blackmailed, or turned corrupt.
Good point, huh?
Victoria Nuland continues.
Good point. Everyone who has disagreed with this kind of stuff has been assassinated by the U.S. federal government.
Continues this objective. With all this in mind,
banging
it makes sense why Nuland would marry someone who believes these kinds of ideals too. Robert Kagan's role in the U.S. State Department is to dictate the real, fascist, tyrannical policy that has caused leaders to be overthrown, innocent civilians killed, and critical infrastructure to be destroyed. Nuland's job is to dress up all that ugliness into democracy. In this 2014 clip, Victoria Nuland is talking about the Ukrainian Maidan coup, a coup that she herself admits she helped start to overthrow President Yanukovych. This clip takes place at a time in history just before Yanukovych was ousted. Listen to how it always comes back to how this benefits the United States, not Ukraine.
So why does the United States have an interest in how this turns out? Our chairman and ranking member have spoken to that. It's because countries that live freely and independently and respect the rule of law are more stable and they make better
independently.
Independently. Well, we're actually, the U.S. is actively pushing this stuff. As to who was banging the mic, it's our friend here declaring independence.
Please explain a little annoying. How they are independent and they've gotten what $200 billion worth of fucking military aid.
Yeah, very independent while being an absolute puppet of the United States, which is how can you argue against it?
If you spend $200 billion defending America's border,
how at this point can you argue, knowing everything that we do know about the Euromaidan, that this was a totally independent movement that originated organically? When you have people like Victoria Nuland saying, "Yeah, we fucked with it." When Joe Biden says he got the prosecutor fired,
with the
John McCain was there. It was there twice at the Euromaidan. Went twice. Yep, and met with Ola Teohanibuk, by the way. The far right guy, Ola Tihanibuk, and Klitschko, and Yatsenyuk. It's just sorry, like it took me a minute to reactivate this part of my brain about this Ukraine stuff, but come on, this is not anyone who believes that this was organic when everyone involved is telling you it wasn't. How? I don't know how you come to that conclusion when the people involved in the United States government are telling you it wasn't. Okay, sorry, let's continue. Let's finish it up.
Partners for the United States. The same principles and values that Ukrainians are fighting for are the cornerstone of all free democracies, and America supports these values in every country on the planet.
Yep, okay. So I think he might be doing some more parts of this, but I thought we'd watch that. Spoon recommended it. I'm going to share my screen now, because it's the only video we had that's long.
Sweet.
What?
You said just share your screen.
I'm about to. Give me 1 second. So, this segment I have called, whoa, what the heck?
That's what you call the segment? What the heck?
No. Well, I mean, might as well be called that. But, hang on. I'm going to close out the watch together because I think it's the only thing that's long to watch. Okay. This segment is called The Absolute State of the Democrats.
Oh, God, this is going to be fun. Ah, yes, Jean-Pierre, or as I like to call her.
Jean-Pierre.
What was that? The critical drinker?
KJP.
Diverse female character.
Yeah, she's the diversity character. But she has said here, she said, investing in America means investing in all of America. When I ran for president, I made a promise that I would leave no part of the country behind. Did you notice something there, Spoon? Has Karine Jean-Pierre ran for president? No, that's Karine Jean-Pierre intending to tweet from Biden's account. That's Karine Jean-Pierre, who clearly does tweet from Biden's account, screw it up, and tweeting from her own account. Oopsie. Whoops.
I think I should do a video.
Little screw up there.
I think I should do a video on this.
So we're just absolute insanity. So John Fetterman has tweeted this out. John Fetterman, the man whose brain doesn't work and who spent several months in a facility to treat his mental health disorders. No, allegedly he spent months after getting elected very fairly. It was a very fair and free election because all of them are in the United States. A man whose brain doesn't work. Making fun of the woman on the plane who said that person isn't real and mocking her. And this guy, however, wants your pity and sympathy for him spending time in a mental health institution because he's depressed and he has a mental health disorder. Well, no, you have to pity him because he's a Democrat. But he can make fun of this woman. Watch this. Just look at that. He's got the subtitles up here.
That motherfucker back there is not real.
Is not a PA resident. So weirdly, I don't know what he's doing. He's claiming that this other guy, former hedge fund CEO Dave McCormick, often touts his connection to Pennsylvania as he says he lays the groundwork for likely Senate run. But public records and footage from him and interviews show Republicans spends much of his time in Connecticut. So he's trying to use this video, this viral video, as a way of attacking his potential political opponent by saying he's not really from Pennsylvania.
And you can sit on this plane and you can die with them or not. I'm not going to.
Weird thing to tweet, Fetterman. Because this woman's now come out, by the way, and said that she was having like a mental health issue, as everyone knows. But weird thing to tweet. You want sympathy, but you're going to use her to attack your political opponent? Okay, weird. Maybe you need to go back to the hospital. I don't know. Now, two of the most insufferable people on earth had a little sit-down chat. As I said earlier, remember that Hillary Clinton, to this day, still says that Trump stole the 2016 election from her. That's now what Trump is being indicted for in Georgia. Makes no sense, not even the plot video. Yeah, he doesn't know what's going on. He's crazy. Fetterman is. But it's okay for him to make fun of someone who's having a mental health issue. But don't make fun of him. Otherwise, you're a literal Satan. So here we go. Just Spoon. I was astonished at the lack of any kind of self-awareness, the irony, the insanity of this clip. Hillary Clinton, who to this day says that the election was stolen from her and it was her turn in 2016. This is not The View, Jake the Just. This is Rachel Maddow, arguably worse.
The system of democracy at its heart.
Oh, is there it was. There it was. Oh no, they said the word. They said the word. You keep using that word.
You said the word again. Idea that the people get to decide how we are governed, and if we no longer believe that our will is effectuated through the system, if bad actors tell us falsely that every election is stolen and that the only way an election...
You mean like how you, Rachel Maddow, and Hillary Clinton both claimed the 2016 election was stolen. Both of you claimed that. You cried on air.
...is trustworthy as if they come out on top of it. Then something, it tells you something not just about that person or that moment. It maybe wounds us as a democracy in a way that
he said the word again. Oh my God, she said the word again.
Gentlemen, This is Democracy Manifest.
It's hard to repair. What do you think about how we get better after the wounds that have been inflicted on us through this process?
Well, I think that you didn't have anything to do with at all, because you claimed that the 2016 election was stolen for years, and still do, by the way, but all of a sudden now it's an issue. Oh my goodness.
You know, the truth matters.
Does it though, Hillary? Does it really though? Does it matter? The truth matters when you win. And it's your truth. They even use that terminology, Spoon. It's my truth. My truth.
Having these cases be brought in such professional manners, we'll see how they unfold. Obviously, the trials, if there are trials, are going to be critically important. But the article you mentioned that I published about the weaponization of loneliness really does, in my view, point to the larger cultural concerns, because the lack of trust, the divisiveness, the undermining...
Who helped sow that? Excuse me, not sue. Who helped sow that, Hillary? You spent years and have never stopped saying that the election was stolen from you. Oh.
Mining of faith in ourselves, in each other, respect for our institutions, the rule of law. All of that has been deliberately inculcated within our body politic. You know, there were trends before. I mean,
by whom? By you? Maybe.
We have seen how people have become more isolated, less community-oriented, less civically minded. Then we see how social media and technology has certainly accelerated a lot of those trends. But the deliberate...
oh my God.
Effort to divide Americans...
Who did that? Who divided Americans, Hillary? Can you believe this shit, Spoon? I mean, I can believe it, but it's so egregious. Yeah, she's the most vile person. No, she's published her new book, or no, it's not. She hasn't published it. It's a book about her that she's retweeted. I'm biased, but I think Michael D'Antonio's book, cataloging decades of right-wing misogyny and myth-making, is a stunner.
Oh, fuck
It's called The 40-Year Campaign to Destroy Hillary Clinton. Now I'm going to scroll down here. Uh-oh. Notice something? What's this? Well, what's this? Only people who Hillary Clinton follows can reply. But what if I go over here? What if I go to these quote tweets? Uh-oh. What happens now? Oh, everyone's roasting the shit out of her. Everybody. Prefer your interpretation. The moral in Orwell's 1984 captures the real you. Confirming, coming from the person who persecuted her husband's sexual assault victims. That's rich. What could be more misogynistic than pushing for men pretending to be women to be able to compete against women? We'll get to that. Use their private places and set the norms for womanhood. This seems to be the height of misogyny. We're not allowed to comment on this. As an avid supporter of Hillary Clinton for almost 40 years, all I can say is that we're tired of this vast right-wing conspiracy against you. I know I'm tired of you bringing it up yet again. This guy has been supportive of her for decades and is like, can you stop making this shit up?
No, they can't.
Even her supporters are tired of this. But of course, Bill Clinton's wife's upset about misogyny. I know, right? I know.
It's a pretty good shot, though. Come on.
It is. I'm going to read some super chats, and then we're going to move on to the next thing, which is going to be the Maui stuff. Let's see. Slasher for 5 Canadian said, this was back a while ago, said that my favorite thing about Brittany Venti is she sells shirts that says bimbo power that are only available in small and medium. I didn't know they were only available in small and medium. That's base, Brittany. DRT is King for 5 says, I recognize that the Schmitting? I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce that. Conception, he is a friend. I just don't like country music. It's too plebeian for me, but I wish him well. Oh, the about Oliver Anthony. Horwitz, Feinberg, and Horwitz for $10 says, remember when the Bush administration would change the terror alert whenever they messed up? This is Joe's version. On point with that one, 100%. You remember that, Spin? Maybe you don't, because it was a U.S. thing mostly. But like, yeah, anytime the Bush administration got into any problem, they'd be like, well, the terror alert's gone up to orange today. To make people scared.
I was about, what?
You and I the same age.
12 years old at the time?
Yeah. But I always had the news on. all the time. So
I don't recall that. No.
Well, in the U.S., it was a huge deal because, 9/11 happened when I was 11, and so it was every day, that it would be, it's code red today. No explanation as to why, just it's code red today. Well, the reason why is because Bush did something embarrassing. And yeah, these Trump indictments are Biden's version of that. I think it's completely right. Horwitz, Feinberg, and Horwitz. Hasselhoff over 5 says, I watched Uncivil Law go over the new indictment. Oh, did he have good points? I'm sure he did. Most of the counts on the indictments seemed completely frivolous things like requesting a meeting. I'm not at all surprised by that. Senor Sund for 20 New Zealand says, TFM and co-star Halsey were rough on Trump for not burning all in sight. But if he did... Oh, Halsey, yeah. I haven't talked to Halsey in a minute. But if he did, the resistance would be horrendous. I agree with that too. As opposed to collecting as many of their sins as possible, why not? Second term is his riposte. Trump, ooh woo. Uh-oh.
Ooh woo.
Get Halon the Driven for 5 says, Sitch also insists the prosecutor was only fired for being corrupt and stealing people's money. Shame. There's nothing I can do to help at that point. At this point, with Sitch's gonna say the stuff he has to say about Ukraine. I don't listen to those streams where they talk about Ukraine anymore because I don't need to listen to more propaganda. Sorry. So and I'm not trying to shit talk Adam and Sitch directly. I just Sitch has a very specific take on it that I think is propagandistic, and I don't think is realistic. And I don't mean to say that to be mean to Sitch. I talked to him like a week or two ago. I send them, things that I think that they might find funny, or there's no issue there, but I don't think. But I just think he's got real blinders on when it comes to the Ukraine stuff. Solon Malich for 50 ARS says, this American Proggy Empire royalty ain't looking so good. Needs some French Tea Party. Also needs some Barbie Girl. I don't have that saved anymore, but like the lyrics I wrote for the Japanese Barbie Girl, but it's like, yeah, I forgot how I wrote it. I think I do have it somewhere, but I don't know where I put it. As it does, Watashi wa Barbie, Barbie no sekai de ni, kore wa plastic. Kore fantastic, something like that, Cold War Mike for 5 says, update the democracy sound with even more voices. I should have to put more in there. Mr. Twisted Frenzy for 10 euros says, have you guys seen Dev's new video on the nature of meritocracy? It's a long one and the topic seems to be right up your alley. I'd be interested to hear your 2 cents on his analysis. Well, the stream that I clicked off of from Adam and Sitch the other day was, they were supposed to be talking to Dev about meritocracy, I think, but Dev wasn't there. You said you watched it though, right, Spoon?
One.
Dev's video on meritocracy?
Oh yeah, it was interesting.
You did think it was interesting?
Yes.
Should I watch it?
Yes.
Okay, I'll check it out then. That's the thing is that, like, even though Dev and I disagree on a bunch of stuff, I think he makes good content. Just sometimes...
Yeah, it was well researched. It's because he was agreeing with Sargon.
It's just sometimes when he gets into, like, I don't know, this weird, like...
It was him and Sargon versus Adam and...
Yeah.
Yes, Adam and Sitch. And the thing is as well is no, it was the thing because... No, but the thing is with this is that basically you've read Hans Hermann Hoppel's book, the really short book of from the natural elite to aristocracy to monarchy to democracy, and he highlights basically nobody knows where like the first aristocracy comes from. You just assume it must be families because that's how basic tribal groups are formed. You respect like the head honcho of whatever is the main sort of governing model that people will respect. Like in the tribal groups, it'll be strength or like size or the smartest. Yeah, basically. And so that's the sort of family structure coming from. And that's basically what Sargon said. If this is like the group that you have, if the head chimp mates with like the alpha female and, they make people and those people rule and they, Darwinian sense, you do this for generations, the people who are at the top breeding, they are going to be better people objectively. That's just that's just fact. Like there's nothing offensive about it.
It is a fact.
Yeah, that's just how the society is governed.
And of course, to always quote Antoine Ribeyrolles is that is that the people will never be Marco Aurelius. The king will sometimes be a Nero, right? I'm misquoting it, but is it the people will yeah, what it's is that the monarch will sometimes be a Marco Aurelius and will sometimes be a Nero, but the people will never be a Marcus Aurelius
The
and will
absolute ruler
often
may
be a
Nero, but he is sometimes a Titus or a Marcus Aurelius. The people is often Nero, but never Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, and that's the truth about it. Yeah, and that's always it's always the comeback we get on that though. Is it like, well, what if the monarch's crazy? Yeah, well, what if the what if the democratically elected leader's crazy? If you want to go to that stupid kind of and all you would have to do to people who make those kinds of arguments is say like, people on the left say, what about Trump? People on the right say, what about Biden? You know what I mean? Just recent examples. Okay.
But the thing that bugs me, and I am going to do a follow-up video on the one that I did earlier, because that is overwhelmingly the thing I get from almost every fucking American is, oh, what if the king is bad?
Every time.
Yes,
every time.
Yeah, and the reaction I want to
It's like an NPC reaction.
Yes, and the reaction that makes me want to snap and yell at them is, listen here, you fucking idiots. You just admitted to me that you can tell the politicians are not the one that holds power. They're not accountable. So you have an unaccountable oligarchical influence corrupting your politicians that you can't get rid of through voting. How the fuck do you get rid of that? Get rid of that first before you worry about a fucking king, you twats.
Yeah, very good. I agree. DRT's King for 5 says the production quality is emblematic of Spoonie's choice of videos to watch. Gott mit Kaiser, Gott mit uns. Yes.
I'm guessing that's the old Spoonie and not me.
No, he's saying that you chose this video.
Which video?
The video we just watched. About Victoria Nuland.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the Clinton one.
Which, of course, Gott mit Kaiser, Gott mit uns is God is with the Kaiser and God is with us. A DRT is king, which even my limited amount of German can translate that one. DRT is king for 5 says, haven't the Dems claimed every election they lose is stolen? Yes, they have. Curious that. Because I think that's been their MO since 1960 when JFK stole the election. I don't think JFK stole the election. I think he absolutely won because he was so charismatic. And there's been a ton of research on that, actually, about that debate. People...
Even CNN admitted that was probably diced.
There probably was some dicey stuff there.
MSN or
you think so?
CNBC. Yeah, they openly said that.
If CNN said so, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
It was either CNN or MSNBC, but it's that blonde woman that looks like she's going to be a witch any moment now. Yeah, she openly said that. Yeah, there was probably some nixing around in that election.
Interesting.
I just thought it was like,
well,
wow.
I didn't know that. I know from the social science research I've read, there's been like people were so. I mean, you've seen the debate, right? The famous debate between Nixon and Kennedy, where Nixon is sweating bullets because he was sick, and then they had these enormous like hot lights on both of them, and Kennedy looks cool and calm, and Nixon's just like sitting there sweating. Yeah, people who watched that debate thought that Kennedy won. People who listened to it thought that Nixon won. So that was like kind of like at the beginning of the popularization of the television. So yes, and it was the first televised debate on suspenders. Yep. So there was, of course, a lot of research conducted on it. Cole Summers for 5 says, been listening for a while. I built a rocking chair. Awesome, dude. I'm getting more on board with Spoon and that the problem with voting is women. LOL. Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, shit. Here it is.
Would you... What?
Oh, fuck you. So I'm just mumbling out loud. Why the hell is this so huge? There you go. There's a clip where she admits it. You do realize you're muted, by the way. Or I can't hear you right now if you're talking. Unless I just fucking did something. Hold on. Okay, now I can still hear shit. Aiden, why did you mute yourself? Aiden, say something because I can't fucking hear you. Hold on.
I butchered that.
There we go.
Pleaded with the country's leaders to provide to prove the devastated community of Lahaina matters. Kawika lost his homes in the fire, he told Kane.
Speaking with residents who lost everything, and he joins us live from Maui once again with somebody else. Will, who are you talking to this Tuesday morning?
You know, Steve, one of those burned out cars, one of those burned out homes belonged to my new friend here, Etan Krumpnik, who has a story, sadly, Etan, that is harrowing, but also common for what happened that day in Lahaina. Your story is one, just like everyone else.
Sorry, I pronounce everything wrong, guys. I pronounce everything with a Japanese accent. I can't help it.
Your story.
I am, Will, yeah.
So what happened that day in Lahaina?
Scared out of my life, just like all my other community members, and neighbors, and we just, that fire, that wind was mutant, and whoever got out there alive is the lucky ones. Like I said, 30 seconds, it wasn't even minutes, you just had to go.
I was muted?
We've been talking about this morning a ton. We talk about leadership a lot. And
what? I was muted? I was talking the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, my internet might have cut out. Fuck. Okay.
Like I just said,
I'm having problems with.
I just said like, Aiden, you talking? Because you're muted. I can't hear you. I had to restart.
How did I get muted? Oh, I have no idea. Okay, whatever. Anywho, so just to go over it again, there's horrible fires that have been going on in Hawaii, in West Maui. Horrifying. It's been going on for 2 weeks now. There's at least 1,800 people who are missing, potentially. So this is terrible stuff. Clearly, I don't want to go over too much of it, but they expect to find 20 bodies a day for the foreseeable future. This is really bad stuff. Obviously. I'll let this young man continue to speak here for a little bit.
It's not been said.
Get his story out.
There were high winds, like 80-mile-an-hour winds, 65-mile-an-hour winds that morning. There was no warning on that. We talked about no warning on the fire, but there was no warning on the winds that were a failure of leadership as well. I want people to understand this about Lahaina, okay? Etan, tell us, multi-generation, the home that you lost, an old plantation home. You've been here for how long? Tell me about your family.
I'm 39 years old. My family's been here for 200 plus years, just directly right here in Lahaina. The house that we lost was my grandma's house. That's what we call it, my grandma's house. We've had that land for over 200 years, ever since.
God damn.
And we're gonna stay here. We're not going anywhere. Yeah, my family's ready to restore, rebuild, and that's what all the Lahaina people need to do. We need to stay home. We need to stick together like how we already are doing, and we need to just keep on it and keep the elders motivated, because the young generation, my generation, we're not going anywhere, and we're going to keep Lahaina in Lahaina.
Mm-hmm.
There's a saying, Hawaii is not Hawaii without the Hawaiians. And while Etan...
Well, that's an interesting quote that applies to everywhere, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Hawaii isn't Hawaii without the Hawaiians.
That you couldn't say that about a white country or place that's not like considered tribal, you know what I mean?
Well, I've
even though this is a white guy.
I've recently a whole bunch of Africans just say,
it's a very
based.
You
should fuck off out of Africa. Africa's for Africans. Really? Africans? Then fuck off out of Europe and go back to Africa, because Europe is for Europe.
Good point. Right. Exactly. I mean, if you're gonna make those kinds of statements and be like, get out of Africa because it's for Africans. Then sorry.
Now, however, not in my country, by the way, because South Africa basically made you and gave you basically everything.
Yeah, we'll get there in a minute. I got a little bit of an idea though. The thing is that's crazy is that there's been this media blackout that people haven't been allowed to report. The Constitution has essentially been suspended. Service is rough, hard to post, Kane wrote, but we're putting together stories of incredible citizens stepping up where the government's failed. And at Napili Plaza, someone from the former Mayor Richard Bison's office tried to shut me down, saying West Maui is a media-free zone. A media-free zone. Kane added, right now I'm nowhere near search and rescue. I'm 12 miles from Lahaina. How is the entire west side a media-free zone? Is it no longer America? Constitution has been suspended? Kane complained of chaos and confusion and residents of Maui wanting to tell their stories, and the media are unhappy with leadership. And inspirationally, they have set up I just hung out with a 29-year-old girl, with two 29-year-old girls who have organized an airlift to the west side. Kane tweeted, "It's stunning. Planes and helicopters landing all day to bring supplies. Better than the government. I just saw who's surprised? I just saw retired firefighters volunteering to distribute goods."
Wait, the government government is being outshone by everyone else? Really?
Oh, who's shocked?
I'm surprised.
For some reason, the Biden administration doesn't want people reporting from Maui.
I wonder why.
Well, he has no comment about the situation. I'll put it that way.
He doesn't know where Hawaii is.
Well.
He doesn't know where he is.
No, and then he smirks. That's the worst part. Potentially hundreds of people are dying, and he smirks. What a piece of garbage. It's not just him, by the way. I mean, he doesn't know what's up. So, like, I think that everything's happening with Biden is elder abuse to a certain degree, but he's also a piece of shit. KJP doesn't know what the hell is going on either. Look at this.
She never does, though.
No.
Senator Horino, who I said the president...
Mazie Horino, who is a woman, the senator of Hawaii, or senator from Hawaii.
Senator Horino, who I said the president spoke to just last night. He thanked the...
Mazie Horino is now a man.
President for the immediate support of federal agencies have delivered for residents of Hawaii, and so has Senator Shorts.
Senator Shorts. Shots. Isn't that hard? Shots. They don't care. They don't give a damn. They truly don't give a single damn about the people dying in Hawaii. They don't care. They don't even care enough to, yeah, I know. That KJP misgendered Mazie Hirono. She needs to be canceled forever for that. It's fine if they do it.
Though.
Here's an interesting thing.
Gay and black shit's kind of slow.
Guess who's suing KJP?
Is it a based African black man by any chance?
It's our based African black man, Simon Atiba, who is suing, has filed a lawsuit against Karine Jean-Pierre.
That's black on black violence I approve of.
I know. Lawsuit alleges that Atiba's press pass was revoked in an attempt to suppress his voice and limit his access to the White House, which they did, and therefore is true. Fundamentally, the premise of the lawsuit is accurate. Complaint begins by emphasizing the significance of a free and robust press in a democratic society. But you did say the word.
Extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Yeah. First Amendment protects the free press as a vital check on government power, especially when the government is under scrutiny. I just filed my First Amendment lawsuit with the White House, Atiba explained on Twitter. As you know, a few days ago, the White House deactivated 442 hard passes, making it difficult for journalists to cover President Biden. Gee, I wonder why. My hard pass was unwanted. Simon Atiba serves as the correspondent for an online publication that covers American politics and its relations with African nations. Despite his significant role, Atiba claims that he has been treated with contempt by the press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre.
It's because it makes him stupid.
Well, because we've seen it. She has treated him with contempt.
And it's because he's based.
Because he's based, and I really hope that he wins his lawsuit. Whoops. Oh, stop, please. Okay. Meanwhile, 65 Afghan terrorists were let into the United States under Biden's chaotic withdrawal. Prisoner free by the Taliban and men... What? I don't care about Kate Middleton. Okay. Why did it do... Fuck you. Just screw off with this stuff. Prisoner free by the Taliban and men who planted IEDs got through dire vetting process. Damning new book reveals more failures of the U.S. government in Afghanistan. Holes in the vetting process meant national security threats made it to the United States. Taliban fighters identified by an interpreter almost boarded evacuation flights. Militants who left fingerprints on IEDs meant to kill Americans in Afghanistan and a prisoner freed by the Taliban were amongst more than 65 terrorists allowed into the United States after the catastrophic withdrawal. Most of them could still be roaming the country, and the government cannot track them down. Great. Thanks. Excellent. Thank you so much. But this is not an isolated kind of issue under Democrat programs. Same thing has happened in New York City under Mayor Eric Adams. An illegal alien sent to Western New York by Mayor Eric Adams has been charged with sexually assaulting a woman.
Of course they did.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams is being demanded to end his practice of unloading illegal aliens from problems from other municipalities after 2 of the illegals sent from the Big Apple were arrested for sexual assault. County Executive Mark Plunkars, I don't know, of Erie County, which encompasses the city of Buffalo, published an official notice to Mayor Adams in his Saturday morning announcement about the arrest of the illegal shipped upstate from New York City. Yesterday afternoon, I was advised of a serious incident involving an asylum seeker being housed in a Chicatoga hotel, as was, of course, they're all set up in hotels, paying nothing. By the way, I just had to, guys, I'm in the process of like finishing up booking my entire trip to London for the meetup with the Nerdrotic crew and to go on Lotus Eaters. It's really expensive, as I'm sure everybody knows. These people just get put up in hotels for free. As was, by the way, in the UK, I'll put this up, and there are people in the UK who are in hotels for free for months, if not years. It's £100 a day at a hotel. Pretty much. That's like the cheapest you get. Like it's very hard to get any cheaper than that.
And then they complain as well.
Yeah, of course they do, because they want better, which is ridiculous. As was described by the Chicatoga Police Chief Brian Gould, a suspect is now in custody on Plunkars Road. One of the crimes was allegedly perpetrated by an illegal from Venezuela who was bused to New York City from New York City to a Chicatoga hotel. Once there, the man allegedly raped a woman in front of a 3-year-old child. A second illegal, this one from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, so he's all the way from Africa, was arrested and charged with sexually assaulting a hotel employee, the New York Post reported. Both crimes took place in the span of less than 2 weeks.
Now, if you want me to listen to this shit and tell me that we are not better people and a better civilization, I'm going to tell you to fuck off. I'm not going to tell...
These people are put up for free in fancy hotels.
Yeah.
And they rape.
Yeah, and we are objectively better human beings and civilizations. And I don't give a fuck if you call me a white supremacist for that. You can eat a dick. We don't do that shit.
But guess what? Biden wants new housing programs for migrants. He's going to pay them $40 billion in emergency funding.
Like what? Like trying to do with the fucking student cancer?
No, they just call it emergency when they just want to spend without having to actually get it passed through anything. They just say it's emergency. It's an emergency.
Yeah.
The DHS wants the ability to use funds to set up new types of facilities to hold migrant families as they go through an expedited asylum and deportation process. No. Asylum is what you're really about. You don't deport any of these people. You then send them up to New York and put them up in hotels.
Yeah, you're going to give them the right to vote while they're fucking waiting to be processed.
It's unbelievable. And just to show you how disgusting all this is. $40 billion more to put people up in facilities so we can fast track them to asylum and so they can rape people, they can rape American citizens. Look at this one. Here's Kamala Harris.
For so many that actually remain in that city, because Chicago Alderman Raymond Lopez knows many have fled that city, including big companies. Who said that they couldn't keep their employees safe, they couldn't recruit top talent to come to the city anymore because of the rising crime rates. This is new sound of the vice president on the ground in Chicago today. Just a bit of what we heard out of the gate.
How you're thinking about this issue right now in this moment.
Watch this, bitch.
Vote.gov.
Haha, vote Democrat. They're talking about people getting killed in Chicago. And what's her response to people being murdered in Chicago? The crime wave? Vote Democrat.
That's not even an answer.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And
then she laughs. Did you see that? She giggles.
To be fair, she does that.
Cackles, excuse me. She cackles at everything, yeah.
Vote.gov.
Cackling. Sick. Sickening.
Alderman, a bit of a puzzling moment there of laughter. As we have seen sometimes with the vice president, she takes a question, she laughs. All right, so that happened in that moment. Apparently she was being asked about gun violence in the city of Chicago, and that was the response. But why are they highlighting a city that's having such clear problems?
Well, Sandra, let me just say that this is not a laughing matter, and I don't find it
funny. It's
not,
by the way. It's not funny.
Comfort families who've been torn apart.
This guy's a Democrat, by the way, in Chicago.
No Democrat ever
you can
seems to want
see.
to say out loud. And a lot of the drug-fueled violence that we see in our neighborhoods. She's here touting Democratic success in the state of Illinois, city of Chicago. Well, look at the success that we've had. Crime is out of control. Immigration is now at our feet because of the border crisis, which she has ignored for the past 2 years since she was.
No, she's encouraged.
And here we are trying to address all of this in a way that makes sense for our future.
You know, I look at the headlines all the time. You know, I'm from that city. And it's every weekend we come, especially in these summer months, we come out of these weekends and it's one deadly weekend after another. Yet here is the current governor of Illinois praising the vice president for her travel to Chicago today. Earlier, listen.
We're very pleased that the vice president is coming to represent the administration and to, you know, let the country know here in Chicago.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the big people responsible for the COVID thing. He got a shitload of money from the big pharma and all that shit.
Yeah, I'll get into that in a minute.
Oh, okay.
To keep people safe across the country.
Not him specifically, but some of the silliness with around COVID, such as it still exists.
Again, there's no better example of people not feeling safe than Chicago right now. You've seen major corporations who have picked up and left. We've had residents on this air for years now.
They've been complaining about that. Is that the old Walmart can't operate in Chicago? It's that fucked.
Safe enough in that city that they have now left. So what exactly is this disconnect? What is this alternate reality that they're talking about and touting that's happening there?
She doesn't care.
As you said, we've seen businesses from McDonald's to the small mom and pop close up because they can't make it in this city because violence is out of control. We've seen UPS workers being attacked, killed because violence is out of control. The federal government's employees aren't even safe, let alone private sector employees. And to be so disconnected is because oftentimes they're not paying attention to what's going on the streets. They don't have to walk the streets the way someone like I have to,
blindness.
living in a ward that is so impacted by the violence, living with gang members down the street who are throwing up gang signs as you're going to work. That's something I see every day, and because they don't see it, they're living in a very academic world.
Yeah, that's really it. They don't see it because they don't live anywhere near it, so they don't see it and they can cackle about it.
And they think that this is some sort of exercise that can be changed with rainbows and hugs, and it's not going to happen that way.
Also, the irony of it all is that Kamala Harris was, I don't know, almost 900 days ago, whatever it is. We're keeping track a couple days ago. She was appointed the border czar. And we're still looking at a growing crisis that is deeply affecting the city of Chicago. As we have been identifying, it's not a border community issue any longer. It's everywhere. This is Woodlawn, just outside Chicago. It's a neighborhood there. A community meeting where they are sounding off over the migrant situation that they're dealing with. Listen.
Yep, they're just getting bussed up there by the Democrats.
Chicago is taking on this burden. They disrespect us, they rob us, they harass us.
We are actually afraid to come out of our apartments at night.
Where's the $2 million for the people who've been here? 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years.
And they're getting out of hand. They're trying to run everything. Whatever y'all doing, it ain't working.
Oh, I mean, you feel for these people who are dealing with this, with these migrants that are being put in Chicago. It's all over. The Chicago, High Ridge YMCA, they're putting in the police stations. We've seen video of that. College campuses.
Oh, I don't think my hotel booking's going to get screwed up in London because of this kind of stuff. Maybe it will. Let's hope not. I need to be fucking compensated for that if it did happen.
They're using elementary schools. They're using to house the influx of migrants that they're handling there. This is Kamala Harris, by the way, exact count 870 days it has been since she's been appointed the border czar. So what about this was a good idea, Alderman?
You know what, I would love, and actually extended an invitation to the vice president on Twitter to come and join me at any one of the shelters housing in the city of Chicago.
I mean, good on you to reach out, but she's not going to do that.
In the first 6 months alone on these individuals because the federal government has completely failed, not only Chicago, but the entire United States in addressing this issue.
Look at this stuff. This is a first world city. It's just
no answer
full
from
of
the vice president. We have 1,000 people
homeless
living
people
in police stations, 5,000 people living in temporary shelters
across
the city, including Woodlawn, where I was at that meeting, where individuals are complaining because these individuals are not only taking over vacant spaces, but they're taking over public spaces. They're taking over blocks. They're playing loud music. They're selling drugs. They're engaging in prostitution, being recruited by gang members, all of which has been documented and identified by our mayor.
Well, they're illegal, so why should they follow the law when the government is also saying, it's fine.
And his team with no solution, and that is simply unsustainable and unfortunate for communities that did not ask for this.
Did you notice also, Spoon, how many of the people who were at that meeting were black. It was mostly black people who were saying, "Nah, we don't want this either."
Wonder why.
Interesting. So let's see. Did have something else. So one thing I wanted to say is that people are saying that wildfires in Maui are climate change. They're not. Scientists are clear that climate chaos wreaking havoc on ecosystems everywhere is the new norm, says Senator Jeff Merkley. No, it's not. It's not climate change. Holy crap. Let's see. Is it in this bit or?
We're now going to look at Maui. The winds from Hurricane Dora.
I think this is just
the flames.
Yeah.
At least 36 people are dead.
It's worse than that now, but in 2019, this is okay. This is Clay Trauernicht, a University of Hawaii at Manoa professor and environmental management expert. Hawaii's fire problem is due to the vast areas of unmanaged non-native grasslands from decades of declining agriculture. These savannas now cover about 1 million acres in the main Hawaiian islands, mostly the legacy of land clearing for plantation agriculture and ranching in the late 18 to early 1900s. He continued, the transformation to savanna makes the landscape more sensitive to bad fire weather, hot, dry, windy conditions. It also means we get a huge buildups of fuel during rainy periods. He also added that wildfire risk in Hawaii could be mitigated with adequate support, planning, and resource for fuel reduction projects, agricultural land use, and restoration of reforestation around communities and the foot of our forests. So it's not climate change. And if anyone's telling you it's climate change that is doing this in Hawaii, they're being a disingenuous butt. So, or they're just outright lying. Who knows which? They're outright lying or they're stupid. It's one or the other. However, we talked about another climate activist that was jailed, or that killed her husband earlier, but cameras go up to punish drivers in the name of climate change, then vigilantes strike. A major city has instituted a draconian law to satisfy, I talked about going to London in a month, or a couple weeks now, satisfy the climate change religion backed up by a mass surveillance camera network, resulting in a de facto tax costing residents hundreds. The taxes in London are incomprehensible. Authorities are shocked that citizens are taking matters into their own hands by vandalizing and disabling the Big Brother cameras that monitor compliance. Citizens of London are furious over the city's ultra-low emission zone rules that renders a large section of the city practically inaccessible by car because there are very few vehicles that meet the draconian emission standards that permit them to enter the zone according to the drive. Yeah, that's the thing. By the way, for those of you who don't know anything about what's going on in London, they've made it so basically that if you have a car that's older than like 5 years, you can't drive in London. It's older than 5 years, and that isn't a EV vehicle, electric car. You can't drive in London, or you're going to get like £100 huge fines. It's 1588. What's this dollars? They probably mean pounds per day. If the fines are not paid, they'll be charged an additional 288 on top of the missed fines. So it's per day you get charged by just existing in London with a car. That's, it's ridiculous. So naturally, the residents are not amused. The problem is about to get even worse because London City Halls has announced it intends to expand the zone to over 600 square miles to include an additional 5 million residents in the next year, all of whom will similarly become instant criminals once the new zone takes effect. It's so infuriating. Mayor Sadiq Khan has described the plan as transformational and was excited to announce that 5 million more people will be able to breathe cleaner air and live healthier lives. No! You're talking about working class people who can't afford to update their stupid car and buy a new one. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. They can't afford this. This is such a rich leftist mindset that hates the working class. Why don't you just buy a new car? Why are you using that old car? Just change it out. Well, it's just because you're a conservative and you're a bad person. That's why you're not changing your car. It's not because you can't afford to. It's fucking sickening. One man who claims to... Okay, a group calling themselves Yola's Blade Runners is striking back and has engaged in a massive act of civil disobedience by vandalizing, disabling, or blocking the Big Brother surveillance systems in which Mayor Khan has burdened them. One man who claims to belong to this group told the Daily Mail that he and his fellow Blade Runners are trying to wake up the sleeping masses. There are 24 hours in a day. We either fight or accept it. True. We do whatever we can, the man said. We will achieve by our actions. What we will achieve by our actions is the removal of the infrastructure and waking up the sleeping masses to what is really going on. This one's so ridiculous. Like, I mean, just kind of said, like, why just don't drive in London anymore? But this guy's face. Fed up citizens have used cordless impact tools to actually remove the cameras and tote them away. They've cut the wires to make them inoperable, or somehow obscured the camera lenses by covering them with various means such as bags or paint splashes. Officials reported that 96 cameras were affected in one way or another in May, but since then the police have mysteriously stopped reporting on the number of cameras damaged or blocked. One London Metro Police report said that about a dozen cameras were being vandalized per week in the city capital of a nation increasingly trending towards authoritarianism. And by the way, this is authoritarian. People use that word all the time, but this is authoritarian. You want, and you're demanding people pay money for it, by the way, too. Oh, 3 of 12 works unite to that article, because that's an article that Spoon sent to me before V made his video about it. Anywho, so God bless this man. Fuck these draconian policies. It's ridiculous, and I hope that it's ameliorated in some way. They've done nothing wrong, in my opinion. I don't think so. But speaking of, should we ban electric cars? Is it time to ban electric vehicles? The New York Fire Department recently reported that so far this year there have been 108 lithium-ion battery fires in New York, which have injured 66. These cars explode. The New York Fire Department recently reported that so far this year there have been 108 lithium-ion battery fires in New York City, which have injured 66 and killed 13. According to an FDNY commissioner, Laura Kavanaugh, there is not a small amount of fire. The vehicle, literally explodes. The resulting fire is very difficult to extinguish, so it's particularly dangerous. Last year, there were more than 200 fires from batteries from e-bikes, EVs, and other devices. A fire ignited at an e-bike shop and killed 4 people near midnight on the morning of June 20th. 2 individuals were left in critical condition. The fire commissioner has warned New Yorkers that such devices could be very dangerous and typically explode in such a way that renders escape impossible. They're telling you to use these things, and then they kill you. Gee, Spoon, why do you think they want everyone to use these things? You there? Spoon? Uh-oh. I have to run this to show myself. My God, guys. Spoon fell asleep. Spoon! Did he fall asleep? I think he did. He did tell me he was tired. I'll do the rest of the show, guys. Unfortunately, the next fucking link and the next story was, or not the next one, but the one after this is going to be at South Africa. Maybe that'll wake him up. Here's something curious. Doctors can now prescribe ivermectin for COVID-19. Doctors are free to prescribe ivermectin to treat COVID-19, a lawyer representing the U.S. Food and Drug Administration said this week. The FDA explicitly recognizes that doctors do have an authority to prescribe ivermectin to treat COVID. Ashley Chung-Honold, a Department of Justice lawyer representing the FDA, said during oral arguments on August 8th in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit. The government is defending the FDA's repeated exhortations, to people to not take ivermectin for COVID, including a post that said, "Stop it." The case was brought by 3 doctors who allege that the FDA unlawfully interfered with their practice of medicine with the statements. A federal judge dismissed the case in 2022, prompting an appeal. The federal issue in this case is straightforward. After the FDA approves the human drug for sale, does it then not have the authority to interfere with how that drug is used within the doctor-patient relationship? The answer is no. Jared Kelson, representing the doctors, told the appeals court. The FDA on August 21st, 2021 wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter, "You are not a horse. You are not a cow. Seriously, y'all, stop it." Except for the fact that this drug has been a life-saving medication for decades. The post, which linked to an FDA page that says people shouldn't use ivermectin to prevent or treat COVID, went viral. In other statements, the FDA said that ivermectin isn't authorized or approved to treat COVID-19, and Q, should I take ivermectin to prevent COVID-19? Answer, no. The FDA made these statements in response to multiple reports of consumers being hospitalized after self-medicating with ivermectin intended for horses. which is available for purchase over the counter without need for a prescription. A version of the drug for animals is available, but ivermectin is approved by the FDA for human use against diseases caused by parasites. Ms. Honold said that the FDA didn't purport to require anyone to do anything or prohibit anyone from doing anything. Yeah, you did. You outright... Oh my god, you couldn't post about it on Twitter, which we know from the leaks was all the US government saying they couldn't post that shit. Let's not... Oh my god. The amount of lying is absolutely incomprehensible. Absolutely incomprehensible. But they never stop lying, do they? Then they just get caught and they said, oh, whoopsie. As they said, they were merely quips, saying that banning anyone talking about ivermectin is merely a quip. Okay, so here's the thing. Turns out ivermectin can be prescribed to treat COVID. You were lied to for years. Because, of course, you were lied to. Because ivermectin costs pennies. And the new mRNA vaccines cost a whole lot of money. And are experimental gene editing or something. Allegedly, potentially. I don't know. I found this the other day. Spoon, wake up.
I'm right here.
Are you awake? No, you're not. 81% of grade 4 learners can't read for meaning in any language in South Africa.
Give me the demographic.
Okay. 81% of grade 4 children in South Africa couldn't read in any language in 2021, and were nearly an entire year behind their counterparts from 2016. That left the average South African grade 4 learner about 3 years behind the average grade 4 learner in Brazil, which has a similar GDP per capita as well as high levels of inequity. It is according to the latest report. I don't think they're going to give it to you. Professor Nick Spowell from the economics department at Stellenbosch University calls some of these findings extremely concerning. Oh, you think so?
You actually pronounced the name correctly.
Was it right?
Yeah, Stellenbosch.
He attributes the increase from 78% in 2016 to 81% in 21. It's insane. It was 78% in 2016 that 78% of children can't read in any language in South Africa. Children who can't read because of course, COVID. Even before COVID, we had a reading crisis, but this has just made it much worse. Not really. It increased by 3%. How is that much worse? I mean, like, if you're starting at 78%, how much worse is 81%? Professor Spell says the study results show that for children in no-fee schools, the quality of education is extremely poor. They're not learning how to read. They're not getting to matric.
The people.
Yeah. With the kinds of knowledge and skills that they get to go to vocational colleges or universities or get meaningful work. Meanwhile, he says the Department of Basic Education has done very little to remediate those learning losses. At the moment, there is no plan at the national level. So...
Of course, why on earth would you get people to read if it's South Africa? You don't want people to be smarter. They'll never vote for you.
Good point.
Duh, this is why any national education plan is a fucking joke.
Right. But, I mean, it's incredibly... That's so dire.
Yes.
That 80% of 4th graders can't read at all.
What's the percentage of blacks in the country, Aiden?
Okay, let's find out. Demographic, racial, demographic, race, South Africa. Is it if it's 80%? Oh no!
Guess which ones can't read?
Oh no! Actually, I'm sorry. Like, just look. It's just 1-to-1.
What did I tell you?
Oh no! I'm not saying it's an inherent correlation, but...
Yes, it is. I'm fucking saying it because it is.
80% of 4th grade children can't read in any language. The ethnic background of South Africa is 80.2% black. Well... Good thing they got rid of all the whites, right? They kicked them out of the government. That's great.
You kick all the whites out of the government, it's just going to go from 80% to 100%.
Well, they already have mostly done that, that's what I was saying. It's going great for South Africa. I did want to look at a couple of these, is that the National Review...
Chase, I'm not gay. What the hell are you talking about?
Oliver Anthony? We played a little bit of a song earlier, but I can't... The National Review is hidden behind a paywall. and I'll get to Rolling Stone here in a second. Along with the usual suspects who you expect to trash a song like that, that's about working class people and pro working class, the National Review, which is a right-leaning outlet, took a thoroughly elitist take on it and just sort of learned to code. Right, this was the review was written by Mark Antonio Wright, who said that in a world full of Nashville pop country sludge, Anthony sings with an authentic passion, and many people were instantly taken with his raw and raspy voice. However, while he said that the singer's meteoric rise was a great American story, he confessed he didn't understand the adulation on the right for the song's message. That's because you're an elite.
It's because you're an elitist prick, you dumbass.
The first thing I've had a problem with was the song's first verse, in which Anthony sings, "I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away." He responds, "My brother in Christ, you live in the United States of America in 2023. If you're a fit, able-bodied man and you're working overtime hours for bullshit pay, you need to find a new job." Wow, really? This elitist piece of shit has no idea what it's like to live in a small town.
Something like 40% of America is like $100 or like $1,000 away from being bankrupt.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Just get another job. Get a new job. It's ridiculous.
But by the way, if he's saying that, isn't that just confirming what the lyrics are actually about?
It is. There's plenty of them out there, jobs that don't require a college degree. That's not true, by the way. That's a complete bullshit lie. That offer good pay, especially in this tight labor market, and great benefits, especially if you're willing to get your hands dirty by doing things like joining the Navy, turning wrenches, fixing pumps, laying pipe, or 100 other jobs through which American men, by the way, a whole bunch of these, you do need degrees for. They want degrees for it now.
Pipe. It means
you have.
Does it mean porn?
Yeah, you can lay some pipe. You don't need necessarily degrees, but you need to go to a school for this.
Yeah,
you need to pay money.
Do you think you can just go into any place and just do that? No, you
these
need
people
training,
are
you fucking moron.
National Review, so elitist. You could just go out and just turn wrenches and fix pumps and lay pipe. Well, you can certainly lay some pipe without having any kind of any kind of educational background. But no, all the rest of these things, you have to go get training in them, which costs time and money. A lot, actually, by the way. But this elitist, college-educated prick doesn't understand that. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright, but I think you're very wrong on this, and that's because you are you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You just really don't. I can't stand when conservatives or allegedly conservatives get this stupid elitist attitude too, just like the leftists do. Just go pull yourself up by your bootstraps. How? If you're the type of guy who's willing to show up on time every time, work hard while you're on the clock, and learn hard skills.
Up by the bootstraps. You can't even afford the boots.
Exactly. There's a good paying job out there for you. Go find it. It's worth noting that Anthony drew inspiration from the song from his time as a third shift factory worker. So he worked in a factory. I mean, he had to get a whole bunch of goddamn training for that, by the way. Antonio Wright, meanwhile, is the executive editor at National Review, a graduate of the University of Oklahoma. No, it was Oregon. At Norman, and infantry officer at the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve. There is no disgrace in either career trajectory, but I have a fair guess regarding which one knows about the opportunities for upward mobility afforded to blue-collar middle Americans in 2023. And there's a spider on me. Spider.
I'm guessing it's tiny.
It's a tiny. He went away. He crawled up my leg. He's fine. It's a tiny little spider. Just happened to notice it.
Spiders are funny.
And they're cute. Yeah. Okay. So, especially if you're willing to get your hands dirty by doing things like joining the Navy, turning wrenches, fixing pumps, laying pipe. Yeah. Okay. We got that. There's no disgrace in either career trajectory, but I have a fair guess regarding which one knows more about the opportunities of upward mobility afforded to blue-collar middle Americans in 2023. Spoiler alert, it's not the guy implicitly telling Anthony to learn to plumb. Yep. Fuck you, dude. And it's not the only one. I mean, that's the National Review, which is heinous. Because I expect the leftists to bitch. But which they are. So Rolling Stone, of course, which I also can't read because it's hidden behind a paywall, but the Western Journal has reported on it for me. Rolling Stone triggered by Oliver Anthony's hit song Lose It over his reference to Epstein. Liberals have found the next country song for their most hated list, as it only took a few hours for the new crooner Oliver Anthony's Richmond, North of Richmond to soar to #1 on the iTunes chart. No one's triggered by the protest tune more than hardcore left-wing Rolling Stone magazine. Of course. Of course. Nationally, just as common Americans are finding Anthony's song resonating with them, elitists, such as the leftists at the Rolling Stone, are railing it hard against the song because it causes hard feelings for the very left-wing authoritarians who are trying to run our lives that the magazine supports. Consequently, Rolling Stone is railing against Anthony's #1 song, against the younger singer. The erstwhile music magazine is incensed that Anthony is blasting high taxes and obese people on welfare. The magazine is particularly annoyed that Anthony appears to allude to Jeffrey Epstein, the Hollywood elitist who was a convicted pedophile and ran a private island where he reportedly supplied some of the richest people and most powerful people in the world with underage girls and boys to satisfy their lust. And don't forget, Rolling Stone hated Jason Aldean's song too. Shocking, I know. Rolling Stone is disgusted with that, quote, right-wing influencers, including Dan Bongino, Matt Walsh, and conservative country star John Rich, are suddenly rising up to push Anthony's song and comparing Anthony to Jason Aldean. Look at the lyrics, however. A look at the lyrics, however, may suggest another reason why Richmond, North of Richmond, is appealing to right-wing influencers. Anthony rails against high taxes and the value of the dollar, but also wades into some Reagan-era talking points about welfare, the magazine's screed reads. But that isn't the only thing that has infuriated the Rolling Stone. A real head-turner, though, is the apparent allusion to Jeffrey Epstein's Caribbean island, where the billionaire and convicted sex offender allegedly introduced underage girls to powerful associates. Why is that a bad thing?
It is awareness.
Why is it a bad thing to talk about it, to sing about it? How dare the songwriter be upset about human trafficking and a loss of mining jobs at the same time? Yeah? One of the worst things a human being can do is take advantage of a child, Anthony says in the video. In his response to the Rolling Stone. I think I drew the line on being quiet when I started to see that becoming normalized, and I'll leave it at that. There was a day when far lefties like those at the Rolling Stone prided themselves on being anti-establishment, but now they are the worst shills you can imagine for the leftist gatekeepers who are intent on controlling this country. The Rolling Stone is now a cheerleader for big pharma, big tech, big entertainment, big government, and the communist-based policies of climate change religion that is focusing on sending us all back to the Stone Age. And they are even standing up for pedophiles such as Jeffrey Epstein. It's insane, right? They're at the point where, like, you can't say something mean about Jeffrey Epstein.
Why not?
Because they're on the same team. That's why. And let me show you how they're on the same team. Planned Parenthood is opposing a ban on child marriage in California.
Why?
The pushback comes out of concerns that imposing an age requirement would set the stage for a slippery slope when it comes to constitutional rights or reproductive choices, specifically that age requirement could impede a minor's ability to seek an abortion. California and Mississippi are the only two states where there is no minimum age requirement to get married. Most states have a minimum age requirement of 16 with parental consent, although it can range as low as 14 and as high as 18. Minors seeking to wed in California need approval from a guardian and a court order, but those calling for a ban on child marriages point out that when it comes to issues like statutory rape, California's definition of unlawful sexual activity between a child and adult does not apply if the two parties are married. This is in leftist California. Planned Parenthood affiliates of California spokesman.
That bit there. California's definition of unlawful sexual activity between a child and adult does not apply if the two parties are married. That's the reason.
Yep.
Oh my God, California, just get fucking.
It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
You are just demonic fucking hellspawn in that shithead of a state. Fucking Christ.
Why is it legal in California to marry a child?
Yes, and then basically sexual contact is legalized. What the fuck?
You know what? Hollywood.
Jesus
Planned Parenthood affiliates of California spokesperson Jennifer Wanacott told the LA Times that it strongly supports protecting youth from abuse of all kinds, but said those protections should, quote, not impede on the reproductive rights of minors and their ability to decide what's right for them, their health, and their lives. Abortions in children.
Why the hell is your child having sex? This is what happens when you get freedom.
I don't know. This whole thing's so confusing.
It's just hell.
Yeah. The idea that banning child marriage, a human right abuse that destroys girls' lives, might somehow undermine girls' rights is preposterous, Rice said. We at Unchained see again and again that child marriage survivors often lose all sexual and reproductive rights, repeatedly forced to have unprotected sex and forced to endure pregnancy, childbirth, and childbearing without their consent. Analysis from Unchained, blah, blah, blah. The state legislature is expected to see another attempt to ban child marriage without exception early next year. The U.S. considers marriage under the age of 18 in foreign countries to be a human rights abuse. Funny. Assembly member Cody Petrie Norris, a Democrat, told The Times, the reality of this is happening in the dark corners is absolutely shocking and horrifying. If it's happening at all, it's too much, she said. So, but Planned Parenthood's pissed off about it. Because they want children under 18 to be able to get abortions. But I don't get it, by the way. I don't actually get it, Spoon. I truly don't even understand where the argument's coming from. Is that, why is Planned Parenthood against the child marriages? Or, against banning the child marriages? Why are they against that? Why are they for the child marriages? It's not even explained. And imposing an age requirement could set up a stage for a slippery slope where it comes to constitutional rights and reproductive choices, specifically that an age requirement could impede a minor's ability to seek an abortion. How does child marriage have anything to do with that? It's just Planned Parenthood is weird. That's all it is. That's all it is. I really don't think there's any real reason there. By the way, at the same time, Biden's threatened to lock up peaceful pro-life protesters for 11 years.
They do.
Case filed against 5 pro-life activists that Biden's DOJ indicated went to trial with the claim that the activists violated federal law that makes it illegal to block access to an abortion provider. Biden's DOJ cited the Freedom to Access Clinic Entrances enacted in 1994 to protect abortion mills. Okay, Western Journal. Come on. It is a law that has rarely been used to prosecute pro-lifers, that is, until Biden came to office. In 2022 alone, Biden's DOJ used FACE to indict 22 pro-lifers at their peaceful protests, according to Life News. In this week's case, for instance, the DOJ indicted Herb Garrity and Lauren Handy for standing outside of an abortion clinic in Washington, D.C., and 11 others were indicted for protesting an abortion clinic in Mount Juliet, Tennessee in 2021. The FBI was sent out as stormtroopers to round these people up as if they were terrorists. From my understanding of this is that they did have chains, but they weren't absolutely denying access. They were just standing in front of the clinic. Right? The pro-lifers are charged with 1 count each of violating the FACE Act and enacting a conspiracy to deny a right. The latter is an interesting charge because the U.S. Supreme Court has held that there is no federal right to abortion. Yep. The event was mostly pro-life people staging a peaceful sit-in along with singing and praying. It was lawful and peaceful, and lawful and peaceful that the local police let them go after minor misdemeanor charges. On the other hand, there's evidence that pro-abortionists have committed violence, including firebombing pro-life centers. Yeah, we know about that. So yeah, looks like, of course, this is them doing it again. They're coming after regular peaceful protesters who haven't done shit. But meanwhile, you can burn down the city, and that's fine. That's fine. This is also fine, apparently. 6-year-old boy who shot teacher later boasted about it, affidavit said. I don't want to go over this too much. It's just so screwed up.
Fucking ridiculous.
A 6-year-old shot his teacher in January, boasted in a conversation with a school employee that I shot that bitch dead, according to unsealed redacted search warrants. How is a child using words like that?
Because it's black and the mother is single.
I guess so. I did it, the boy told school officials, according to the police in an affidavit. I got my mom's gun last night. I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's the question you have to ask. But this is the absolute state of everything is so screwed up. It's so screwed up.
It's overwhelmingly leftist or the darker ones.
Oregonians turn against drug decriminalization mistake amid record ODs in dystopian nightmare. Uh-oh. Looks like maybe just decriminalizing all drugs might have been a mistake. Go ahead, Spin, sorry.
Remember they did this in Portugal and they said it was a great thing because Portugal didn't have as many problems. and people don't seem to understand this. You can decriminalize drugs if you don't have a massive drug problem. Because if you say we're having too many people to prosecute because they're all on drugs, then doing that is just say, oh, we're going to have lower crime stats. That's the point of doing that. But if you have a massive drug problem with people using drugs and you decriminalize them, you're just going to get people to do more drugs.
Yep. When Oregon voters decriminalized drugs in 2020, few very likely understood the scope of the fentanyl crisis that was in the process of overwhelming the nation, infecting the drug supply, and even hooking drug users who had no interest in the powerful synthetic opioid. Yep. Now, with few options to coerce users to treatment, data show that Oregon has been disproportionately harmed by the drug. Last year, over 1,300 people died of drug overdose in Oregon, more than double the 610 such deaths in 2019. In Portland, overdose deaths are similarly skyrocketing, according to the Police Bureau data. Last year, the city shattered its record for drug overdose deaths, with 159 up from 135 in 2021 and 87 in 2020. The Bureau reported. So far this year, the Portland Police Bureau told the National Review. I hate that I'm back on the site after just shit talking them, but as of August 10th, its narcotics unit has already received 178 suspected overdose death notifications, blowing past the last year's records with about 5 months left to go. So, turns out that decriminalizing really screwed up drugs like fentanyl doesn't help. Rand Paul, however, this is a different. This is my section called Rare GOP W's. Now it's a common W for Rand Paul. He's a common W man, but he's going after Anthony Fauci, which I'm all on board with. I'm not gonna be able to play all this, but Rand's going after him.
Explore all possibilities. Instead, government authorities, self-interested in continuing gain-of-function research, say there's nothing to see here. Gain-of-function research, as you know, is juicing up naturally occurring animal viruses.
The other stuff. I'm gonna read the TLDR. Rand Paul has referred Dr. Rand Paul has referred Dr. Fauci to the top DC prosecutor for criminal charges for lying under oath about COVID origins. The move by Dr. Paul comes just weeks after he submitted a criminal referral to Fauci with the DOJ. If convicted, Fauci could face up to 5 years in prison. Oh my God, that's nothing. Dr. Fauci testified that the NIH has never and does not now fund gain-of-function research in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. In a subsequent hearing, I warned Dr. Fauci of the criminal implications of lying to Congress and offered him an opportunity to recant his previous statements, Paul said. In response, Dr. Fauci said that he had never lied before Congress. Do you remember this part, Spoon? I do. And did not retract his statement. Dr. Fauci's testimony is inconsistent with the facts that have since come to light. At least one politician is doing something. Yeah. It would never happen. But I sure wish that it would. It's fucking insane. It's a long clip there, but this one's a little bit shorter, I think, so.
Dr. Anthony Fauci now referred to the DOJ for criminal investigation. We knew this was heading here. So accused of lying under oath to Congress about his knowledge of the U.S.-funded COVID research in Wuhan.
Knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. You do not know what you are talking about.
Really? Senator Rand Paul filed the criminal referral and joins us now. Senator, you've been all over this. You've been aggressive. You've been determined. It seems we're at the threshold to the point where you called Matt Graves and said, I need you to look at this. What turned the tables for you? What evidence do you have?
Well, you know, I don't think there's ever been a clear case of perjury in the history of government testimony. And I don't say that lightly. He said adamantly that the government never funded this gain-of-function research. We now have the Government Accountability Office, the GAO, has admitted that the funding came from the NIH. We have the acting director, Tabak, of the NIH, admitting it in writing that it came from the NIH. But now we have really the smoking gun, and that is Fauci in private saying the opposite of what he was saying in public.
Of course he was.
When he was publicly telling me that absolutely we did not fund gain-of-function research in China.
And I remember that. I mean, it's on. He said it directly to Congress.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Senator Paul, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, yep.
He says privately, we are suspicious that the virus has been manipulated, and we are suspicious because we know they are doing gain-of-function research. He then goes on to describe the research, and it's exactly the research that the NIH funded. So he's caught dead to rights here, but we have an incredibly partisan Attorney General Garland who's refusing to act. So I've taken the extraordinary step of actually going to the local U.S. attorney in D.C. to see if he will act. Now, the problem is there are partisans littered throughout the legal system, and people are seeing this. You don't get prosecuted if you're a Democrat under this administration, no matter what you do.
And one of the lines in the internal communication that were recovered was, Tony doesn't want his fingerprints on any origin stories. Why would that be?
Oh, hundo.
Well, because ultimately culpability attaches. Think about it. 1 million Americans died. This is one of the biggest events, in our lifetime, other than, the wars that we've been through. But in my lifetime, this is 1 million people. In Vietnam, as horrible as it was, 60,000 something, I think, was the total death toll. But 1 million people died. More people died than in the Civil War. And if it came from a lab that we funded, wouldn't we want to know? And if someone made the decision, and here's what in all likelihood happened. There was a safety committee that was supposed to review dangerous research and decide whether or not we should fund it. Fauci went around the committee. He won't admit it, but I think ultimately there's going to be written proof, and I think the House is going to get this. I hope you find it, Rand. If we continue to look into their records, because the government is holding these records tightly, but evidence that Anthony Fauci took this dangerous research and said, no, if they get an exemption, they don't have to be reviewed by the committee to see if it's dangerous. And so they were mixing viruses together to see if they were more transmissible in humans or more dangerous in humans. And it turns out they found
called gain of function
viruses that were more dangerous.
Yeah. And that's the case of it, which it's all come out. And good for Rand has been on point and heavy on this, and always has been, which is why one of the things I've never been as fond of Rand as his father, who is the man who got me interested in politics, to be completely honest, Dr. Ron Paul. But his son, Dr. Rand Paul, is also very based, and he has been laser focused on Fauci, and I hope he fucking smokes him. It probably won't happen, but let's hope so. Let's be white-pilled. Let's hope it happens. Some rare kind of, again, GOP W's is Greg Abbott tweets at this woman. Oh, this is a combination. This is a crossover of women moments and rare GOP W's. This is gonna piss you off, I think, probably, Spoon. It pissed me off.
Too many American flags. Like, they're on houses, they're on cars, saw them on couch cushions. Like, I don't know who's making these American flags, but they'd be making a bloody fortune. And like, you're the only country that I know that does this. Like,
first of all, are you out of your mind? This is some Australian bent. You out of your mind? Have you been to the UK? You seen Union Jacks on fucking everything? Where are you from in Australia? Even you've not seen the Australian flag on everything. The fuck are you talking about?
That's just the British flag.
Yeah, it's just the British flag with with some other stuff on it, with the constellation on it. But okay,
it's red, white, and blue, and has stars on it. No wonder it pisses her off. It reminds her of home.
I guess it's like, but. Yes, there's a lot of American flags in the U.S., but there's a lot of British flags in England. There's a lot of flags of whatever country you're in. I mean, not all countries are the same, but you're in the Anglosphere. What are you fucking talking? She must live in some, I don't know, some leftist hellhole in Australia. Yeah.
The only time I think I've ever seen an Australian flag is like on the Harbour Bridge.
You lived your entire life in Australia, and the only time you've ever seen an Australian flag is on a bridge. So where do you live? Somewhere weird, in my opinion.
Could not tell you what it looks like. Like, I know it's like...
Doesn't know what her own country's flag looks like! Spin.
Yeah, she has no pride in her nation.
Oh, she's also just a moron. She's an idiot. How do you not know what your own country's flag look like? Oh my god.
Blue, and it's got some stars on it. But I think I could draw the American flag from memory. Like, I think I could make a bloody sculpture out of it. That's how many times I've seen it.
It's not difficult, yeah.
Let's pull back on it, okay? Let's stay humble.
In their own country. Goes to America, says, can you take your flags down? And I like, Greg Abbott of Texas says, go back to Australia. And a whole bunch of American flag emojis. I agree. Go back. Go back. Get out.
And don't come to America again, you whiny bitch.
Yeah. Bye. Leave. Get out. Go back to Australia. They don't want you there either, probably. Now, this one I'm only tacitly calling a dub. I think I can play this, maybe, just a little bit of it. But this is Vivek Ramaswamy rapping. However, I do think he's very relatable to the people, and in many ways. He's not... He's just singing it along to an Eminem song, but, you know.
He's actually keeping it with the toe.
Yeah.
To be fair, he is...
Music!
To be fair, he is...
I think it was cute. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to clean it back, but yeah, I think it was cute.
He is what? He's only 37 years old.
Yeah, he's young.
Yeah.
He's just starting his political career, and I don't think he's actually running for president. He's just kind of throwing his name in the, his name in the ring. I don't think he's actually running. Is it cringe, guys? Is it cringe? I think it's relatable.
Yeah, it's cringe.
I don't know. Yeah, it's cringe. What I don't find cringe, what I do find funny, is here's Carrie Lake, who gets harangued by a shitty leftist journalist while she's milking a cow. This shit's so funny. Have you seen this, Spoon?
Yes.
He's from the New York Times. You know there's only 2 genders, right? There's only 2 genders, and they know that in Iowa. I challenge the New York Times reporter and the Washington Post reporter to try to milk a cow and then try to milk a bull and see how that goes.
See how it goes. I don't know why it keeps going. There's nothing else in it. Yeah. Good luck. Go try and milk a bull. See what happens. Then you'd be on the Vosh side of things.
Which one of you's from the New York Times?
Let's see how that works.
I do like it, but she does need to focus more on policy because while this is funny, but like her main
it
thing
is.
just,
I agree with you.
I like to kick the shit out of the media.
I like to troll.
Yeah, but yeah, it's basically the media's a punching bag.
Which is what Trump did, to be fair. But yeah, she needs to focus on.
Yes,
on
but
policy.
Trump has business acumen.
Yes.
So
you want to hear one of the most insane things from a CNN analyst, Jonah Goldberg?
Is this the guy who said small donors are a threat to democracy?
Yep.
Yeah.
But I just also think that we were dealing with a time where there were a lot of people, there was a lot of cheering and self-congratulation about the rise of small donors a decade ago. And now small donors are actually one of the biggest problems for democracy, for the GOP.
You keep using the word.
He said it. He said it. He said the word.
Stop saying the word!
You said the word. He said the word.
You said the word again! I was say the word.
Bill's gonna say a different word. Small donors, regular people, are a threat to democracy. You heard it here first, folks, via CNN.
Wait, what does Bill want to say?
Oh, you know the word he wants to say.
I don't know. What does it begin with?
Might start with an N.
Oh. Oh, negro.
Okay, because large donors actually have a strategic view about moderation, who can win, who can't. Small donors really are just venting their spleen with their credit card. And
what the hell does that mean? And it's a threat to our democracy? It's a threat to our democracy. Oh my fucking God, it's a threat to the democracy.
Yeah,
sure thing, man.
And they lock candidates into positions that can hurt them in a general election.
Such an important point.
No, it's not. It's a really dumb point.
I love democracy.
I love the Republic.
I love the Republic. What a lunatic. Okay, so here's my trans stuff. I'm not going to go over this too much because I'm going to make a video on this too. It's a study that says that non-binary patients and transgender patients have no regrets about top surgery. Small study finds. Ooh, keep that in mind. I'm not going to go over this. It's just...
Make this the last one because I better keep my eyes open.
Okay.
Do not go past 15:15. I've been up since 6 a.m.
Why'd you do that when you knew we were going to stream today? I'm just going to read this.
Because, Aiden, if I start in the morning, I can get more work done, and then I can release 1 or 2 videos by the time it actually gets watched by people.
Okay. So, study claims a 0% regret rate. I'm going to go over the study myself, but this guy has done a very good, Jeremy Shaw, MD, has done a very good job of truncating it for us. Study claims to have a 0% regret rate amongst trans patients who underwent mastectomies. However, after skimming through, certain issues come to light. Among their 235 individuals considered eligible for the study, approximately half, which he is rounding up, 41% did not respond at all. Additionally, the participants who responded had a notable shorter post-parative follow-up period. It was, when I looked through the data, and I'll tell you this, is that the people who did respond had the mastectomy within like 5 years. It wasn't people who'd had it like 10 years. You know, it was people who had just recently had it. So they're probably feeling that temporary, like, yeah, I'm happy with my decision because I'm totally happy with my decision because I'm not experiencing cognitive dissonance or anything. Additionally, the participants, read that. This difference is held at statistical significance and raises the concern for selection, aka responder bias, meaning that the only people who responded were those who were feeling happy. People who were not feeling happy did not respond. This is a common problem. And if you knew anything about statistical methodologies, you would know to be like, oh, there's a problem here. Why are we not getting any responses that are from people who have had this surgery more than like 3 years ago? Why are we not getting any responses from anyone who says that they aren't happy with it? That, if it's a 0% response rate, if not a single person said they were unhappy, you should have raised red flags. However, they did get 13 respondents who said that they were unhappy, but they also said they said they were happy with their transition, but they were unhappy with the mastectomy. And so they just threw their data out in order to get that 0% number. This is criminal academically, not legally, academically criminal. The median age at the time of surgery also was 27.1 years old. It's the median age. Means that, you know, these were adults. Every single person was above 18. There was no children involved in this study. Thank God. But it's relevant because the authors hinted at their opposition to the restrictions on gender-affirming surgery, which is primarily focused on minors. But this study consisted entirely of adults. On a 5-point scale, the median satisfaction with decision score was 5, meaning every respondent indicated a 5 out of 5 level of satisfaction. You shouldn't just be like, what's up? You should be like, why? Whoa, that's crazy. Similarly, the median decision regret scale score was 0 on a 100-point scale, with almost every respondent selecting 0. You would expect at least some variation. There was 0 variation, which to me, by the way, also says to me, now I can't prove this part, but I think they just threw out any kind of data they didn't like. I think they threw out every single piece of data they didn't like. I think that they had a very purposive sample here, and I think I'm going to go into depths on this study, and I'm going to probe the shit out of it and find out every single fucking thing that they did wrong. Ooh, because you don't want to piss me off on shit like this, because I'll get in there and be really autistic about it, and then you can't do anything. This raises concerns about the potential Hawthorne, also called the observer effect bias. This is the bias where respondents alter their responses because they are aware that they are being observed or studied. Yep. They are afraid that if they don't answer the way they think you want them to answer, that you will get in trouble in some way. Encountering improbable outcomes such as a 0% regret rate should raise a red flag rather than everyone. Thank you. Exactly, it should, and it does, and I'm going to tear this study apart. It's worth repeating that the regret rate for mastectomies amongst women with breast cancer typically falls between the range of 5 to 18%. However, in the case of trans individuals, the claimed regret rate is purportedly 0%. Yeah, sure thing. I'm sure that's real. Okie dokie. Anywho, with that, I had some other things, but there are some more transgender stuff. Neil deGrasse Tyson claimed there's no difference between men and women in sports. He's a big ding dong. Let's play this real quick.
Can't do. Okay, so we'd have to figure out how to create this continuum. It is a little weird that we split people by male and female in this way. I'm imagining
in sports.
Years from now, looking back and saying, do you know, back 100 years ago, they split boys and girls and they couldn't compete. And I was like, that just be.
Yeah, because we have different biological structure. Neil, the scientist. Sure thing. Skittles wants in on the Bud Light thing. I'm starting to get through these real quick, Spoon. Skittles wants in on the Bud Light thing. Apparently, they've done this before where they've made these weird white bags for Pride Month, which is way over by now, but they're doing it anyway. Skittles is getting them doing their trans shit, alternate designs for a GLAAD partnership. I think I played this last week, but I'm just gonna play it real quick just to taunt your nightmares before we end.
Let's get dressed. Today we're looking at the most iconic friend group.
This person's sponsored by Disney.
And the character most like me is Minnie Mouse. And I have the most perfect dress to start the look. It even has little Mickeys on it, and I love how bold of a red.
Did I play this before, Spoon?
Minnie. I'm thinking of layering a fun collar, like this one, just to give it a little more flair. But now I feel like the dress needs more shape, so let's add this white petticoat under it. It's so fun to move in. And
funded by Disney.
At the bottom. And to add even more shape, this belt should do the trick. Now for hair, I'm thinking of doing space buns. So let's pull out my hair donuts, and just like that, it kind of looks like I have Minnie ears. And Minnie wears gloves, so I need gloves. I'm also going to add this watch with Minnie and all.
Who cares? Okay. Disney, everyone just wants to get on the Bud Light treatment. Everyone wants some Bud Light stuff. Bud Light, by the way, it's redesigned. There, this is funny. Bud Light's redesigned.
It'll make you more of a woman.
Redesigned their can to say the Great American and says new can seems support for our nation's veterans. Well, what do you think the response to this is? Such a manly can, you can't fix this, not falling for it. All people want is for you to apologize. You won't apologize. That's the problem. Just fucking apologize. No new can is gonna fix it. Fuck off.
It's still shit.
Yeah, it's still, that's the problem. I have like two more. Just let me get through my last couple things, Spoon. Green Bay parents voices concern about transgender athlete possibly concern on girls team in sports. Parents at the Green Bay area public school district were voicing concerns about a transgender athlete potentially participating in girls sport. For confidentiality reasons, Fox 11 has chosen not to name the school or sport involved. A transgender athlete is allowed to play on a girls sports team. They're not just used to getting the ball coming at them that hard, said Ryan Gusick. The tryouts for the sport are on Monday, but in the summer practices for games, a lot of the girls are specifically quitting the team because they are concerned for their safety. In other words, they're getting bullied. They're getting beat. They're getting the shit beat out of them at the school. And California, as usual, is trying to pass a bill that would criminalize saying anything about it. If you disrupt classwork, extracurricular activities, or cause any substantial disorder at any public or charter school meeting or state board of education meeting, poised to pass these California Senate and House, it will criminalize parents. It is a criminal statute that's on the books here, potentially, to make it so that if you criticize in any way or disrupt them, they're going to criminally prosecute you as a parent. How dare you? You don't have any rights. The children belong to the state. Any adult who causes substantial emotional distress or torments a school employee, what the hell does that mean, can be fined up to $1,000 and serve no more than 1 year in jail. Fuck this, dude. Holy crap. But this is the authoritarian shit that they want. It's the authoritarian shit that they want is they hate you. They hate your culture. They hate your people. They hate Massachusetts Catholic couple says they were barred from fostering children over not being supportive of transgender stuff. Yep. So they're directly discriminating against Christians now. One last thing I did want to go to as we end here before I hit the super chats, which is that Anna Kasparian roasted Vosh.
Trash, okay? And if you actually genuinely do watch Vosh on a regular basis, you also know he's trash. And yes, Vosh, I think you're garbage. I think you're trash. Found a lot of interesting things about what you had to say about the transgender community. Tried to scrub the internet of those videos. I found them. Really curious why you thought it was okay to say the kinds of things about them that you did, including the fact that you think that they have mental illness, they're struggling with mental illness. That's what this is about. They're the most toxic people on the internet.
They are.
I've got the receipts. I'm ready to show them. But calling me a bitch turf because I just don't think that it's, politically advantageous to refer to women as birthing people or people with a uterus, that's terrible. I can't do that. But you can say some of the most disgusting things about the transgender community and then pretend like you have the moral high ground? You're garbage, Vosh. I don't respect you, which is why I don't want to talk to you.
Look, guys, the thing I can't stand is when people say crazy, horrible things about us and they go, why are you grabbing me? Why are you grabbing me?
Attention, he wants it so bad.
Chang seems like he doesn't want to be involved in this conversation at all.
You so desperately want. You're trash. That's what I think of you.
It's like, well, I'm just calling you guys the R word and then stuff. But why are you attacking me? Okay, so guys, to all, it's not just about Bush. To all the criers out there who say horrible, horrible things about us, and then when we tweak you back, I don't need your stupid tears. Go away, okay? So fine, you like, I mean, what am I gonna, like, look, I'm willing to talk to almost anybody. So you want to debate, what are we gonna debate? What are we gonna debate? Your positions are not consistent. So am I debating the Vosh that hates trans people or the Vosh pretending to love trans people?
I don't know
who I'm debating.
What's hot right now online?
Where's the money? Where's the money?
Yeah.
Oh, have I got
You
you to talk
give
about
me the money.
About me? Have I got into your algorithm loop? Yahoo! Guys, there's a literal cottage industry of people being paid, but through the views, etc., to attack us.
I mean, some of that is true, but whatever.
And then pretend that they're not.
Like they're trash, exactly.
I do a little bit. So I'm gonna read the super chats here. I'm gonna have a video on in the background, but I will not have the audio on because it is copyrighted. But I'm just gonna play the video so you can have this here while I read these super chats. Let's see, where were we? Where was I? In a rocking chair? Yeah. Oh, okay. So here we go. DRT is King for 5 says AA academic agent had an entire stream covering the 1960s election and how JFK with LBJ and the mob stole the election. One of the Persian rug merchants' best streams. Yeah, I'll have to check that out then if AA has a stream on it. Thank you. Artis Aranis for $10, thank you, says, I'll be that guy. We have Biden for 4 years, after which we can kick him out, barring fortification. You have King Charles, no stranger to the WEF himself. That's very true. What can be done if he becomes a Biden? I don't think he has any real interest in that, but we'd have to see. Lance for $10 says, I love hearing stories of Democrat voters taking fat L's and grapings. I think there was a 2019 movie about a clown with a very salient line for their situation. Oh, is that you get what you fucking deserve? Yeah, I think so. Thank you, Lance. Big Chris for 5 says, I live in Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to the party, pal. I don't know what that was in response to. Sorry, though, Chris. Thank you for the super chat. Cole Summers for 2 says, what if Fauci gets the 1980 Fauci treatment? Oh, you mean like where he puts a muzzle over his own face full of flies to eat at his flesh? Yeah, that'd be pretty cool in Minecraft. Slosher for $10 Canadian says, it's amazing that the regime isn't even willing to toss Fauci under the bus and say sorry. I know. They're so certain of their absolute powers that they don't even feel the need to throw the plebs a bone. No, they don't care. They don't care at all. They hate you. Hasselhopper for 5 says, Cenk calling other people criers when he's the biggest baby around, LOL. Yeah, true. That is true. Also, I think that, because it sent me something. Oh, just, it's a Vosh penis thing. Yeah, just weird things he said. Anywho, yep. Unfortunately, I can't play the song, but yep. Let's, with that, Spoon. I know you're very tired. Let's head out for the night.
Yo.
Hopefully my video will be out tomorrow, guys. I've shown it off on Patreon. But it wasn't totally finished then, but most of it was finished. It's now completely finished. I'm just waiting for my advertiser to give me the go ahead. And otherwise, we will see you on Wednesday next week around this time. Yeah. All right. Cheers. Bye bye.